Hi, it's me, Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. Welcome to probably one of the biggest events of the year in spaceflight. There is a Mars rover heading to Mars currently at, 11,500 miles an hour, so about 18,000 kilometers an hour. So just screaming to Mars. There's no turning back. Before we get started with anything, let me apologize. I'm still in South Texas, and if you know anything about what's been happening in Texas, we've been kind of without power for the better part of the week, kind of on and off, and trying to find power where available. I can't promise you that I will have power this whole set, and in which case this is a very temporary space, so I apologize if there's any issues. I'm sorry if there's anything, if audio goes down or anything goes down, just straight up, I'm sorry. We've done everything we absolutely can to try to be able to stream this for you today. We have not had water and electricity, so we're just trying our best here. So I appreciate if there's any extra grace that you guys can give me today, would be fantastic. So it's been a very long week, let me tell you that. We are still working on building out Mars Studio B, but in the meantime, let's go ahead and get you guys. We don't have a pre-launch preview because this thing launched last July on an Atlas V. So now we have a Mars rover heading to Mars, like I said, just screaming towards Mars. But if you do want to learn a little bit more about this particular mission, you can go to everydayastronaut.com and you can click on. We do have an article already kind of writing up almost everything. You can check out our timeline here of events that we're expecting to see. So we do have those down in the bottom that we will be highlighting. They'll be a lot more visible once we highlight them, as you can see. And so we'll be listening along with NASA and hearing all the callouts, and I will be providing the live stream for that as well. So this is going to be insane. So just a friendly reminder of what's happening here. NASA last July launched the Perseverance Mars rover for the Mars 2020 mission, and now after a 7-month transit to Mars, it is finally arriving, and it's really exciting. Obviously, for those of you that remember Curiosity mission or the InSight or some of the other Mars missions, there's no turning back. They can't pause and say, "Wait, stuff doesn't look right." They are flying at Mars's atmosphere, like I said, at about 18,000 kilometers an hour right now. So I'm actually going to increase their mission audio so that we can listen in a little bit here. Meanwhile, there's another fun thing we can kind of look at here. This is a kind of pre-landing simulation that NASA provides us, so we can take a look at the current distance. It's screaming right now. Wait, that can't be right. It says it's 500 miles from the landing site. No, that's not right. It would get there in 0 time. Or is that... What? Yeah, it's not. That's not... That's not true. What? But I just wanted to say...
Go east. Okay, this is Station 63, turn transmitter drive off, 193502.
Oh, I'm not live on the thing. That's probably why. Where's the live thing?
East,
oh, here we go. Click live. Thank you, Discord.
Activity flight.
Thank you, guys.
Go flight.
I appreciate that. There we go. That looks more correctness. Yeah, so that sounds about right. 10,500 kilometers, so about 1,000 miles. So that's about 16,000, 17,000 kilometers away. So it is, like I said, just absolutely screaming at everything. So first off, hi, Discord. Thanks for saving my butt already. You guys are amazing. Thanks for tuning in with me today, even though, like I said, this could be a little bit dicey. But yeah, we are about an hour and 18 minutes away from entry and landing and everything. So the sequence of events, there's about 7 minutes of terror. They basically will stop. Actually, most things are based on a timer, but then after about 5 minutes, it kind of doesn't matter the time. It's all relative to the elevation and velocity, and at that point, Perseverance will basically just be focusing on those things. So,
copy activity.
All right, let's get through a couple of your guys'. There's a bunch of new members. I really appreciate you guys, like Luis and Wesley and D. Scott. You guys are amazing. Good luck, Percy from the Martian Engineer. Let's see here. This is really cool to hear from Thomas, because don't forget they actually put like 1 million names or something. Pretty nice of NASA to send my name to Mars. Oh, and a cool rover and helicopter too. Thanks for making space so exciting. So that's what, honestly, I don't know what I'm more excited about between the actual rover or the Ingenuity helicopter. So don't forget, there's literally like a little tiny drone that's mounted to the belly of this rover. And as soon as they land,
read you
soon after they
5 by
land, they're
5.
going to drop
Flight.
that rover, that little drone down. It's only
I
got
read
2
you 5 by
propellers. They
5 as
counter-rotate.
well. Welcome aboard.
They're huge. They're not really. They're actually rotors. Sorry, they're not technically propellers. They're large rotors. I believe they're about 1 meter in span. So the thing's about 3 feet in span. So, yeah, it's awesome. Yes, I can reduce NASA's audio a little bit here for you guys. Sorry. Yeah. So currently, Studio B is not set up. For those of you asking, nope, it has no power and needs a lot of work before it is a Studio B. So when Studio B's up, it'll be a big deal. But that is something that I have. Hang on, about 30 minutes. Hang on.
Flight, this FP.
Go FP.
I can confirm via EHA that the 4 expected SFP monitors are now response disabled, as expected.
Just kind of listening in here. Quick.
Copy. All protection.
Oh, I can actually switch to kilometers. Ooh, I'm going to do that. Yes. Oh, there we go. That's what I wanted. Okay, so I'll keep answering some of you guys' questions here. We're going to keep this up. And for those of you curious what we're looking at right now, basically what this Atlas V rocket, inside of the fairing of the rocket was this. And this is basically the cruise stage with the aeroshell, with the heat shield, with the rover stuck inside. So that's what we're seeing here. This is a little 3D render of it. And oh, look, I can even float around. That's super cool. Okay, so the cruise stage here. Oh, this is awesome. Why didn't I play around with this before? So the cruise stage, obviously, as you can tell, has solar panels. That's to keep the vehicle powered up on Mars. The vehicle, once it's on Mars, will use a RTG, a radiothermal nuclear generator. But so the cruise stage is just attached to this aeroshell, or the back shell, you'll hear it called. And then on the dark side right here in the shadow is a heat shield, a very large heat shield. All of this was tucked inside of the Atlas V. Now, currently, they're going to be doing they're going to de-spin the vehicle because they keep it spin stabilized. They will de-spin it using some small cold gas thrusters, or monoprop thrusters. Hang on, I'm going to listen in real quick here. Oh, his audio is cutting out. So what's going to happen, though, is in about an hour, they're going to de-spin, and then soon after that, they're going to detach the cruise stage, fly with the aeroshell, and enter kind of like an Apollo capsule or something that you might be a little bit more familiar with, some kind of more traditional spacecraft. I'm going to listen in here real quick.
You see the dashed line. That's where we expect if we had a perfect trajectory. And at this point, we're still pretty close. You can also see we're drawing our uncertainty corridor. As we get closer to Mars into the gravity well, it's less Mars is starting to tell us where we really are. And you can see that in the lower right corner, where you can see actually nicely how Mars is really telling where it is, and the uncertainty ellipses have been nicely collapsing. We're actually pretty close to EPU3 we put on board, so that looks good. So then to continue, what to expect as we go into EDL, you see here at first we're actually still in outer space, and then actually at one point, this will be the top plot on your screen, you'll see that we rapidly decelerate in the atmosphere and then actually go to parachute deploy at the hopefully at the end, and then we go further. We'll just zoom in on that a little bit. So this just shows you more zoom in of that, and we'll do that actually during the EDL so you can get a good look at all. And you can see all the events that are going to put dashed lines because they're not quite certain at what time they exactly. But it should be close. So
sorry, his audio is pretty clunky. I'm hearing that on my end here. It's very clunky. So I'll just keep talking here. So yeah, people are asking why it spins. They do it for a couple reasons. If you're spinning and if you're doing any kind of maneuver on your axis where you're spinning, you can null out. Say your engine was a little bit off thrust. This isn't exactly why they do this, but pretend you do have something spinning, and if your thrust was a little bit off axis, if you're spinning, it cancels out that off axis bit 100% because because it's spinning. The thrust can just kind of cancel itself out and maintain going in the direction that they're intending to go. Now for this, they do this for a few reasons: to do a barbecue roll to make sure that the vehicle's cooled. It also does maintain stability because of its rotation. But yeah, So it's going to be if I remember right, they actually do a couple D spins. All right, so this is an interesting question from Mark, saying, which first, this sample return or human landing? Because that's what's interesting about this vehicle. Perseverance has a core drilling system where it's going to be drilling into the surface of Mars, caching samples of Mars in tubes, and then storing them up underneath its belly. It'll go probably plant them somewhere in some kind of localized setting, and then another vehicle in the future that could maybe return by 2030 is supposed to go and pick them up. So 9 years later, pick up samples, and we could maybe see samples back on Earth in 2030. So the question is, which will happen first, human landing or the sample return? Oh, those there is a decent chance to me that I'm team. I kind of am in the team of, I think we might actually be landing on Mars by 2030, so the last launch window of the decade, which means that humans would probably get on Mars while the sample return might be coming home, which would be really, really cool. So it'd be a win-win either way. When do everyday people get our turn to go to Mars? They're making progress. Right now the biggest concern and the biggest constraint is launch costs. When this mission costs, the Atlas V that launched it was hundreds of millions of dollars. The Rover is $1 billion basically. These are expensive bespoke missions. And in the near future, hopefully, especially with the promises like vehicles such as Starship, as many of you guys are probably very familiar with, SpaceX's Starship rocket is hoping to bring the costs down by orders of magnitude. And what that means is, going to Mars could be, potentially just several million, like $5 to $10 to $20 million, just for the transportation. So it could be, if that's the case, then all of a sudden that becomes, if you can sell 100, 200 tickets at once, which I don't think you'll quite be doing, I think it could happen in our lifetime. I think 20, 30 years from now, we could see an average person that wanted to sell their house here on Earth or give up on, their earthly possessions and wanted to go work and live on Mars. That could actually be a possibility, in my opinion, in about 20 to 30 minutes. Now, don't forget, a friendly reminder here about the real-time aspect of this. So this, what we're seeing on screen is pre-simulated telemetry. It's pre-simulated, so it's not the actual real-time data. That I have over here on a different screen. So that's actually, they aren't showing us the exact real-time data. Maybe there is one, I forget. But there is a 20-minute delay. So we're seeing it as in real time as physically possible by the speed of light. So as far as the crazy thing to think about is everything we're seeing happened 20 minutes ago. So yeah, it's pretty nuts. All right, let me keep answering some questions for you guys. Musical Wolves, is a bigger heat shield needed for Mars entry, or is it more about how to slow down with less atmosphere than slowing down causing overheating? Is this current Starship trip like your mini Apollo 13? Is this current Starship trip like your mini? So Musical Wolves, first off, hi and thank you. Is a bigger heat shield. So heat shields are, okay, so this is an ablative heat shield, which means that it can handle really high peak temperatures, but its total temperature is not necessarily as high as more of a radiative cooled heat shield, something like the silica tiles on the space shuttle. Now, if you increase the surface area of the heat shield and you make it, say, twice as much surface area, it can apply basically twice as much braking force. And so there's this balance of heat, deceleration, and all of these different forces, and of course weight, your mass of your payload. If you have a big heavy heat shield, you don't want it to be any bigger than necessary. Now the thing to remember is this thing is coming in at interplanetary trajectories, so it's absolutely screaming at Mars's atmosphere. Even though Mars's atmosphere is only about 1% as thick as, actually I can tell right here by my shirt, it is 1% as thick as Mars's atmosphere, or as Earth's atmosphere. It's still very similar to when a vehicle's coming in and re-entering Mars's atmosphere, or Earth's atmosphere. Sorry, you're in the upper atmosphere anyway. You're aiming at that really, really thin, like the really, really, really thin parts of Earth's atmosphere when you re-enter. And when you're doing that, because you're going so fast, because you're going 10 times faster than a bullet, that thin amount of atmosphere will still compress, still heat up, still slow you down. So Mars has the same exact physics. There's nothing in the game of physics that's actually any different. than what we're seeing happen on Mars. It does take more atmosphere, relatively speaking, compared to Earth's atmosphere. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense and helps answer that question. Thank you very much, Sandra. How's it going? Thanks for saying hi. Good to see you. The Martian engineer. I was super lucky to interview the pilot of the Ingenuity helicopter. Can't wait for it to fly. That is super cool, the Martian engineer. Yeah, having a little drone fly around on Mars, just even getting footage flying around Perseverance. Think about how amazing that's going to be. Think about like the shots we could and hopefully see, just to be able to get that sense of perspective that we would never see on Mars before, just to give you that sense of, oh, I'm there. You know, we're all familiar with drone footage now. It'd be so cool. So yeah, the thing to remember with that helicopter is it can only fly for about 2 minutes before they need to land and recharge basically all day. Because don't forget, Mars, although it obviously has, you know, a decent amount of sunlight, it has about the same amount of sunlight per day as Earth, relatively close. It's only about a quarter as powerful. It's 25% the amount of sun energy is received by Mars, or about 30% or whatever it is. So it receives a lot less solar. So if you have say a solar panel here on Earth, that would produce, you know, what we're used to. We'll say, I'm just going to make up numbers, say 10 watts. On Mars, that same solar panel will only produce about 25 watts. So yeah, to even be able to fly and recharge a solar panel for a little tiny Martian drone is absolutely incredible. So every other day, Astronaut in our Discord wants to know if NASA could someday send a rover to go and retrieve old rovers. I don't know if they'd ever go to try to retrieve old rovers. But yeah. Aaron in our Discord says, yeah, maybe that would be the job of Starship. I don't think it really makes too much sense to try to do any retrieval. But one of the things to remember about something like this is, you know, humans could go someday and visit them, just like on Apollo 12 when they visited the Surveyor rover on the moon. They landed only literally 200 meters away from the Surveyor spacecraft. And it was just absolutely nuts to see a human walking up to a spacecraft that had been sitting on the surface of the moon. So, what did I say? 10 watts. Oh, sorry. 10 watts on, I'm totally sorry, guys. Sorry. I've not been sleeping much. 10 watts on Mars or on Earth would be only about 2.5 watts or 3 watts on Mars. That's totally my bad. I apologize. Okay, let's see here. This is from CP Scott. Thank you for your excitement about spaceflight. I thoroughly enjoy your broadcasts and uploads. I can't wait to see SpaceX Starship on Mars. That will be absolutely nuts. That'll be nuts. Let's see here. Oz in our Discord says, I'm excited to see the Sabatier process. It's not actually the Sabatier process being tested. Parts of the Sabatier process are being tested on Mars. There is this experiment called MOXIE, which will be making oxygen on the surface of Mars, but it's not making methane. It's only, it's part of the Sabatier process is to take and do electrolysis and then pull in CO2 from the atmosphere and turn it into methane. But this is only making oxygen on Mars, the MOXIE experiment. So, for those of you asking, if you want to join our Discord channel, consider becoming a Patreon supporter by going to patreon.com/everydayastronaut. There you can get linked up to our awesome Patreon community who asks lots of really good questions and helps me a lot with some of the live streaming stuff. And they get a little bit of insight to all of the craziness that is my life at times. So yeah, thanks guys. If you want to help me do what I do and get things better, and hopefully I think Studio B is going to need solar and batteries so that I never have to be without electricity for streams ever again. Consider becoming a Patreon supporter, patreon.com/everydayastronaut. That means the world to me. So thank you guys for all of those that help out. Some extra grace. Thank you. It's going to be necessary today. Again, even just lack of sleep and lack of, I forget how hard it is to actually not have water and power. We've been pretty lucky with power. We've had about power half the time in the last week, which is decent. But one of the first nights, it was 26 degrees Fahrenheit, so like minus 3 degrees Celsius or so, with no power was not fun. Yeah, so, all right, let's keep going here. Thank you so much from Alexandra. I really appreciate that. The best alpaca, stay warm. Thanks for the stream. We're trying. I probably should be wearing another layer, but it's all right. Thank you very much. From Sergey. Tim, the telescope is aiming in my ear. Where else would you want to point a telescope besides directly in my ear? Maybe we'll point it right like that. It's a cute old Nautica telescope. I don't know. I think it's really cool. Corona Kiva wants to know, do we know how much the cruise stage weighs and also the final rover weight? The rover is just over 1 ton, basically. So we've got the specs on it here. Yeah, it weighs, here's the width, length, and height of Curiosity and Perseverance. They're very similar. So don't forget, Perseverance literally used some of the leftover hardware, like backup hardware for Curiosity. So they are based on the exact same platform. They're very similar rovers. They both have a very similar RTG and similar wheels, a similar system. Yeah, so let me see if I can find it here. But we do have some of those information. Yeah, the wheels on Curiosity did sustain a lot of damage. That's something that they upgraded a lot for this vehicle. Hang on. I'm going to listen here quick. I'm going to make sure one of these is muted. Yeah. Okay.
Loss just prior to cruise stage separation due to the transition to direct-to-earth tones. We can expect X-band tones only until we have telemetry lock with MRO, which will be about 1 minute prior to entry. This means we will be tones only for about 9 minutes before receiving telemetry via MRO.
Just a question.
An additional note for the flight team,
maybe
no
because
need
I'm
to
missing
reconfigure
something.
telemetry viewers.
Are we just starting to do every other run out
where there was X-band telemetry
based on what's being delivered?
Additionally, for anyone who's monitoring a subsystem.
Hold on, I think I have 2 things going live here right now. I want to find the other one so we don't have... It sounds like there's 2 different things on my computer, but I don't know where the other one would be. Let's see, hang on. It's left ear and right ear. Is anyone else hearing that on the live official stream, that it would be 2 separate audio streams? Yeah, it's very strong right now, so I'm pausing it to see maybe that's on NASA's end. Let me just mute this one. So here, let me show you guys here. I think they are actually talking over each other on the official stream.
Yeah. Nominally, we expect to have UHF coverage through 7 minutes.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I understood why I don't see sequential numbers anymore, but we're doing every other one in the run-out.
Copy.
Correct. We're receiving ESF for every other OD solution, so we're running all the ESFs we're getting.
Okay, so unfortunately, they are talking over each other on the NASA feed. Yeah, whoops. So we'll have to kind of try to listen in and hear over top of 2 voices occasionally, but we're going to be... I'll help try to, I'm pretty used to hearing things in multiple ears. I'll try and help decipher what they're talking about when they're talking about something important. So, yeah.
Go, flight. We have EVRs indicating our telecom reconfig per expectation. That's affirmative, flight.
Top 3, leave that up for another minute or 2, please.
Welcome.
And our last window has terminated as expected.
CVL team in the war room, we were getting comments that some of people's masks don't look like they're tight.
So Travis, no, there is actually, NASA still does not broadcast any higher than 720, just period. They are working on upgrading that though as we speak. So that'll be very, very good. This is, thank you very much from Phil. May the force be with you. Thank you, Elmar. I think the force needs to be with NASA, JPL, and Lockheed Martin today, because this is the big one. This is the one that a lot of us have been waiting for years and years and years and years. Ever since Curiosity has just been knocking it out of the park, knowing that Perseverance was around the corner has just been something really exciting. So, yeah, I think we all really want to be able to see something. See like what we did for Curiosity when we see this mission control room just light up in excitement, knowing that they have confirmation that it touched down. Yeah, it's going to be pretty epic. So I really hope it happens and everything goes well. So, oh, that's awesome, X Team. I'm glad that your teacher is letting you watch this in school. This isn't important. This is history. We are definitely watching history in the making. So
just under half a minute. We're going to go one way and lose telemetry briefly until the station locks up again.
I'm going to do this for a little bit here just so we can see.
Copy telecom. That is per expectation with our transmitter off.
Cool. So they're going to be losing some telemetry briefly. Now, don't forget, everything that they're seeing is basically they're seeing it in real time, but there's a delay in reality because of time and space and the speed of light, basically. So because it's so far away, it's what is it, like 360 million kilometers? It's traveled that far. At this point, I believe it's only someone Discord. Can you guys remind me how far it is actually from Earth right now? It's something around like 60 or 100 million kilometers distance right now, and it just takes 20 minutes for the speed, or 11 minutes. Yeah, one way community. It takes 11 minutes for something to get back right now. But the further away you are from Mars, the more so, because we're on two different orbits, so there's times where you can be opposite of the sun from Mars and Earth, and so the speed of light, it just takes that long. So your communication can be anywhere from 20 minutes round trip to 40 minutes round trip. It's currently at 200 million kilometers away, so 120 million miles away. So that's very far. It takes that long for the speed of light to get there. So thank you very much for my entertainment. Yeah, I don't, honestly, guys, I'm going to be perfectly transparent here. I've had such a crazy last week or two, really. I've had the craziest year so far. My car got absolutely destroyed, and I still don't have my car back, to having now been without power and working on trying to build out Studio B and just dealing with all the Starship stuff, dealing with all these other things. It's just been extremely overwhelming. I haven't even processed this yet, so I'm probably going to be processing this in real time.
Show estimated miss distance for OD 132.
Copy EDL phase.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't love that we're hearing two audio channels.
Flight 8.
Go 8.
Our tracking stations have all confirmed the results of the transmitter drive off and in lock one way.
OL1, EDL strategic back on net.
GDS flight. Flight GDS. At this time, I'd like to disable the alarms before EDL main. So please disable all the alarm files.
OL1, activity lead 2, back on net.
Copy that. EGP.
Copy AL2,
Copy
strategic. Thanks.
Okay, let's get through a few more of you guys' questions here if we can. I like to try to listen in here and let you guys know. Let's see. Okay, so this is an important one. Slowbird, which way is the pointy end, though? That is a very important distinction here with something like the sky crane that we're going to see. Well, we won't really necessarily see too much today, guys. We're mostly going to be seeing data, and eventually they're going to be able to send video back, because this is the first time they're going to fully record video through entry, descent, and landing, including audio, and even send up videos and stuff once it's down. But it's going to be riding on this crazy sky crane thing, which is basically, think of like a quadcopter drone with like 4 propellers, but replace the propellers with a pair of thrusters, and it's basically just controlling itself like this, and then it lowers the Perseverance down on 3 nylon tethers, which then get cut with pyrotechnic cutting devices. Right when it touches down, it flies away. And so the pointy end on this vehicle is really more of a roundy. It's actually the pointy end and the flamey end are really in the same place on this vehicle, and it's extremely vital that they are pointing up, because if they're in both, well, the flamey ends need to be shooting down, but they need to be at the top of the stack. If especially when Perseverance is hung underneath it, if at any point the flamey end is below, that would be very, very bad. So oh man, yeah. So this is going to be very complicated. Let's see. This is Arcadia. Tim is almost halfway to Ride to Space. Don't forget to help him out. Team Space, patreon.com/everydayastronaut. Well, thank you very much, Arcadia. It still scares the crap out of me. Like I said, that was all kind of a joke for me, was when I first put Patreon up, the top tier, or like when I hit 10,000 patrons, I said I'd go to space, and I'm having to slowly accept the reality that that might actually be happening someday, and I am terrified by that. I don't actually really want to go to space. Yeah. This is from 26 Dimensions, made a video about how Ingenuity helicopter works. That's awesome, because it is the counter-rotating rotors, and it's a really unique control system. I've actually held in my hands... Oh, man.
We have disabled alarms and started new RTTP processing sessions.
Just copies.
Okay, I'm seeing some good questions, so I'm going to try and get through them as quickly as I can. But I've held those rotor blades, and they literally had to warn me. I was at JPL, and they had to warn me, whatever you do, like, don't lift. Like, just let us set these in your hands and stand still, because you see this big thing, and you expect to, like, have to, like, put some effort behind it, but they're so lightweight. It literally feels like they don't weigh anything, because your brain sees this thing and just thinks it's going to be very heavy. They are ridiculously lightweight, like measured in just a couple grams or something. It is so cool. So I know how awesome, and it takes that type of stuff all the time. Gary Mitchell, thank you.
EDL main mode.
Delivery and difference.
We have disabled system fault protection,
position distance
armed
is now 147.7
and
meters.
are marking our EDL
Slightly down from 148.1 meters on the previous.
Copy. Thank you, Tad 1.
Welcome to EDL main.
Okay, guys, so don't forget. So it sounds like they're now into the actual...
Before we see the remaining telemetry in the EDL start.
So they're basically getting into the final portion of the code of the software that's going into EDL. So you hear them say EDL often. That's entry, descent, and landing. And that's going to be basically a whole code base, a whole program the system will run. Once it knows and hopefully is exactly right on where it is, it will start this line of code basically and basically do all this stuff autonomously. Remember, there's such a big delay in communications. 20 minutes of like, oh, you should open your parachutes would obviously be way too late. Let me hear it real quick.
Position are expected.
Okay. So they're basically transitioning to that here very soon. So thank you, Matthew. Guys, I'm sorry that I'm going to be missing some of your things here, your super chats, but I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for the new memberships to all you guys. You guys are awesome. This is a good one from Sumit. Says, primary mission, find Mark Watney. If it finds, what's he going to do? He can't even offer him any food or water. He's just going to go up and give him a cold, gentle hug with its mast and camera. Wait, did NASA respond to my tweet? Hang on. Is that really what just happened? I don't think I've ever had NASA respond to our... Wow. Well, this is kind of cool, guys. Check this out. Boom. Where is it? NASA responded to this tweet, though. That's awesome. Where'd it go? Yeah, ours too, talking about their hearts racing. So that's very understandable. I said that my heart is already racing. So that's really cool. That's fun that NASA's watching or tuning in there. So, yeah, that's super cool. I've literally never had... I don't think I've ever had the NASA official account. Wow. Cool. Oopsies, I might have accidentally hit those. When did I hit those? I don't know. Okay, I'm still listening in here. Good luck, Percy, from John. I appreciate that for them. Hang on.
From EDL approach mode, which we entered about 6 days ago, to the EDL main spacecraft mode. And this is really a fundamental shift in how we've operated the vehicle since it departed Earth. Previously, the spacecraft was programmed to maintain thermal control, communication with the ground, and stable power margins, even if that meant interrupting programmed activities and dropping into a safe state. With the transition to EDL main, the spacecraft's number one priority is setting itself up for success on the journey down to the Martian surface. So as part of this mode change, like Activity mentioned, we have gone ahead and disabled all system fault protection responses because we no longer need the spacecraft to stop and wait for intervention from the ground to recover. In fact, we need the exact opposite. If at all possible, we need the spacecraft to continue moving through the events of EDL, depending on what is largely a single-string system with selective redundancy to do the best job it can. So this is a good time to remind the team that success of EDL is not guaranteed, but we can be assured that a large part of our design was flight proven by MSL. So also, as activity mentioned, we marked...
So for those of you wondering why we're only hearing audio on the right channel, that's what NASA is actually giving us through here. We do hear two different channels, one on the left here, one on the right. I can make it mono for you guys if you want, if that would help. But it's almost more confusing than when you hear two voices in the same audio channel. So, yeah.
At the time. Although many parts of the spacecraft are essential for EDL, the things that we marked healthy include the TDS, our landing radar, both DIMUs, and the vision compute element and the DMCA. We've also gone ahead and set the vehicle config in case we get a reset at the end of EDL to make sure that when the vehicle...
I'm going to keep answering guys' questions here because they're kind of just going over on comms how they're in the main primary EDL now. So I'm going to keep it in stereo, and if you guys need to mix down a mono on your end for your preferences, then that'll be for you guys to decide. Okay, so from RC Teller, pilot guy here, nice to meet you. On the dunes before, the S9 launch, yes. Will the Sky Crane be used for any scientific purposes other than just crashing away from Perseverance? Mass to Mars should be used for something. So yeah, you're right. So don't forget the Sky Crane literally, once it safely lowers the tethers and gets Perseverance to the surface, it flies away and crashes. It's not worth them trying to program or risk having it come anywhere or be anywhere near Perseverance. So the line of code is literally basically just yeet itself out of there. They will literally just like turn on the engines full blast and get it as far away from the rover as possible. It's not, I think the safety issue is more like, I don't know. It's better to put all of your mass, all the mass of the scientific instruments onto the primary vehicle instead of onto the Sky Crane. Because, okay, so what? Say now you have the Sky Crane and you land it somewhere softly and it has some scientific instruments. Why weren't those just on the rover, right? I think it's safer to put all of your eggs in one basket in this case. And then, I think that at that point, you go and crash your Sky Crane, and that way you eliminate. I don't know. I don't think it really makes. It's probably not worth it to try and do it the other way. So yeah, they do quite literally stuff the thing full of of all the instrumentations on the rover and get the Sky Crane away from it as quickly as possible. So, and the one thing is when it crashes though, InSight will be listening for the crash. InSight has a really sensitive seismometer that's on the surface of Mars right now. They're going to see if they can pick up the actual touchdown and or the crashing of the Sky Crane, because don't forget the Sky Crane will crash. So that's going to be super nuts if InSight actually picks it up. A lot of people are asking about live streaming and the capabilities of video. There's just simply not enough. There's not enough bandwidth to be able to do anything like that, unfortunately. There's only small portions of a day during the day when they can do high data bandwidth and high data uploads back to Earth. So again, there's the difference between latency and your actual amount of bandwidth. The latency is always going to be basically anywhere between like 10 minutes and 20 minutes one way from Earth back to Mars. It'll take always 10 to 20 minutes to get the data from Mars to Earth. Now, whether or not you have a lot of actual bandwidth, whether or not you can actually upload large files, a video file or not, depends on where which satellites are in view of the rover. So here's actually, this is perfect timing. I totally meant to do this. Thanks, NASA. These are some of the actual deep space listening satellites. So right now they have M20 pointed, which is one of the largest deep space satellites listening in for all of these, all of the data right now. But then once it's on Mars, there's actually a couple orbiters that it can relay data through for higher speed. The slowest versions are like pointing it straight at Earth if it's in line of sight of Earth. Depending on where it's at in the day, they can directly uplink to Earth. It's a little bit lower bandwidth, or they can use more of an omnidirectional antenna. So, but yeah, exactly. In Discord, they're pointing out. Alley Cat says that there's no Starlink around Mars yet, but that could absolutely be a thing. Mars could have Starlink satellites. It would only take a small constellation because latency isn't a big deal on Mars. We don't care how long it takes. We just care about bandwidth, increasing bandwidth. 5 or 10 Starlink satellites would be game changing on Mars, and I would absolutely love for Elon to be like, hey, we're gonna send a Falcon Heavy with 5 Starlink satellites and get them in orbit around Mars. I'll donate those basically, or something like that. I will donate those as in goodwill or something. I think that'd be super cool. So, yeah. And they're doing a little talk.
It hasn't been easy, right? I'm not even sure we've even been all in the same room at the same time. I mean, I'm staring at folks across the internet as well. Even now, right? Only. Yeah. Voice check. Okay. I do want to just extend my heartfelt appreciation from the EDL team to the launch cruise team. You've done everything we've asked for, right? I mean, you've battled anomalies, you've dealt with Cephis, you've done everything. You delivered a healthy spacecraft to the place that we want to go, and she's right on target, right? We did the last maneuver literally 2 months ago, right? This is pretty incredible, in my opinion. And she's armed with the right information to help us land. Doing the parameter update last night, we're ready to roll. You've done everything right. And you've put up with us too, right? You've put up with our eccentricities and the things we like to do in EDL land. So I very much appreciate that. So you all should sleep in on Friday, since you guys have earned it. Thanks for literally and figuratively putting us in the right position to succeed. And let's land on Mars together.
Copy EDL phase. And as flight director, I also would like to thank the whole team, cruise ops, EDL ops, EDL team, and the surface ops as well. It's been an amazing journey. I think we all know that. And it's been my honor and pleasure to work with you all side by side. And your tireless efforts and endurance in the face of our challenges has been truly, truly inspiring. So kudos to you. Mission, would you like to say something?
Yeah, just echoing the same words that Al and Magdi have mentioned. You guys have overcome great obstacles in the last 6.5 months, and it started with an earthquake in this room on launch day at L-20 minutes. So I can't be more proud than all of the achievements that you guys have pulled off in the last 6.5 months. Whatever happens in the next hour and a half, you can be proud of the achievements that you've accomplished so far. I look forward to seeing you on the other side, and I only wish that the rest of our team could be sharing this moment with us. This is a very unusual event. This room is only half as full as it would be if we weren't in this pandemic. So missing everybody on the team who's not with us here today. And go EDL.
Welcome to the EDL family.
That's awesome.
102 back on that.
And with that, Godspeed Perseverance.
Godspeed Perseverance. That is awesome.
All right, activity. Go ahead and continue the report.
Sure thing, Flight. We've since completed the EDL start anchor. As I was mentioning, we changed our CBM row to EDL reserve two-way non-coherent. That row reinforces our CBM windows disabled, keeps our packetization on, it turns off our ranging and switches to the auxiliary oscillator. We have also started our real-time data products and reinforced Medley on. At this time, our next anchor will be at 12:30 local time.
All right, so we're just waiting now, guys. This is getting close. T-minus basically 37 minutes in real life again, and if you could ignore the speed of light in 27 minutes from right now ish, This baby is going to be hopefully resting softly on the surface of Mars. Oh, okay. Now it's starting to get real. I'm starting to feel it now, and the weight of this is actually getting to me now. So, this is a really good question from Will Gage. Says, do we know Perseverance's intercept periapsis? I don't actually remember off the top of my head. 55 or 60 kilometers or something is off the top of my head, but I cannot remember. So that's basically like saying, so say you have Mars here, and you're going to be flying by it at kind of as close as possible, but not too close. Obviously, you don't want to hit the ground, but you also don't want to be too low in altitude because you'll end up experiencing too much peak heating. So there's this right little window. There's this right little window of altitude where you're going to bleed off the right. There's this little window where you have to land in order to bleed off the right amount of velocity, to slow down, to do all of your things, and land on target. I don't actually remember the exact 70 kilometers I'm seeing in chat. It might be 70 kilometers. It had been a while since I think it was like 7 months ago that I remember seeing that. But yeah, someone says 100 kilometers. But yeah, you do have to aim at a very specific section of atmosphere to really, for all the orbital mechanics to work out where you're getting slowed down. And so for a brief moment, your vehicle is kind of in, it would be kind of in orbit. So say it didn't go in enough, or for some reason it didn't keep slowing down, which it would because it's continually decelerating because it's getting into lower and lower atmosphere. But they have to calculate this all out perfectly, and it's going to be, so it's just amazing that they can nail it with that kind of accuracy from this far away. All right, this is from Flight Coach. Considered applying for the ESA call for astronauts not doing that. Less time to watch Tim Todd. Keep it up with you since I had like 5,000 subs. Holy cow, Flight Coach, you are OG. That is amazing. Thank you for being around. But I don't think that's a very good excuse. I think if you have any inclination to be an astronaut, I think you should absolutely become an astronaut. I think you should. Why not? What's the worst thing that could happen is all of a sudden one day you're living and working in space. I mean, that's pretty amazing. So I'd say you should do that, Flight Coach, because we're all cheering for you. We need some good astronaut candidates out there. There are some really good astronaut candidates, don't get me wrong, but never hurts to have more. Harsha says, sounds from Mars is cool and all, but will we ever know what Mars smells like? That's actually an interesting question, because a human can't just like walk out on Mars and smell it, because obviously you would die. It's mostly it's really cold. Its pressure, the atmospheric pressure is only about 1%. You obviously don't have any breathable oxygen. So it would be really, really, really bad. So you can't just go outside and smell it. You obviously, anytime you walk around on Mars, you'd have to put on a spacesuit. You go through a pressure chamber, between your habitat and actual pressure lock. Wow, it's one of those days for me, guys. I am sorry. But yeah, you have to go outside while you're in your pressure suit. And so you're basically, when you're in a pressure suit, you're basically inside of a separate little space station. So you're inside your own little like miniature space station. You're not really, yes, you're walking around on Mars, but like there's still always something between you and Mars, which is really interesting to think about. Airlock, thank you. Gosh, I am sorry, guys. I'm running on very few bits of brain juice today, I think. But yeah, hopefully, guys, I think in the next week, I think we'll have power continually running and warmth and water. That would be amazing. And maybe I'll get back to normal myself. But yeah, meanwhile, what do I think the chance of failure is? So, Balsh, I actually talked, this was back in the day for for InSight lander. I spoke with some of the heads of there, and they actually said 50-50 chance for InSight. And that was a team at Lockheed Martin and JPL. They said 50-50. It's never easy. Landing on Mars is never easy. Okay, hang on.
Probably the last time if you feel the need to do a battery change to do that before we go into quiet mode. Also, unless we have something updated we want to show in the next couple of minutes, we're about to turn over our WebEx screen to Telecom for tones. At that point, I'm happy to get updates in chat in our WebEx on EDL ops, but I'd prefer to not have any more call-outs over the net unless you see something you do not expect.
It is super cool. Thank you very much from Junkster Gaming. That is awesome. Someone asked me real
this
quick.
Is Tap 3. I
If you want to know, this sim was at eyes.nasa.gov. So eyes.nasa.gov, or just search. Yeah, this one looks a lot better. I almost like this better just to see this. But the problem with this one is that it's not actually any real-time data. But we'll keep this up because I think it looks better. Yeah. Hey, I'm going to listen to them real quick. Thank you very much to KPD Waro, man. Appreciate that. Keep thinking they like start talking and then they go, "What's that?" And then it goes,
"Looks good, thank you." Top 3.
Thank you guys for saying hi. In Discord, Arv wants to know since the Sky Crane is a pressure-fed system, does it use hypergolic fuels? So it'll be simple in this case. Yes, absolutely. It is a pressure-fed engine. So the engines on board are, when they run on hypergolic fuels, these are very storable fuels. So they don't need to worry about boil off and things they normally have to deal with say a really cold liquid fueled rocket fuel like liquid methane or liquid hydrogen, especially, is really hard to keep pressurized and cold. So, hang on, we're getting into something. But hypergolic fuels are happy at even really cold or warm temperatures. They kind of just don't really care. They have a really wide range of where they operate as a liquid. And what happens with hypergolic fuels is when they come in contact with each other, they instantly combust. So that's what hypergolic means, and it means that when the two different the oxidizer and the propellant, when they come in contact with each other, they will instantly combust and have this really clean and simple ignition process. Now, behind that, those tanks are pressure fed, and in order to keep those tanks pressure fed, you actually do have a separate tank of helium. So the helium tanks are higher pressure. When they need to basically, as they drain hypergolic fuel out, they need to backfill it with helium, which is inert, so it won't blow up. It also is really sparse, so you can compress it really high, and it won't weigh much, and it can just help fill in. Because of buoyancy, it will fill in that gap in those tanks and force the hypergolic propellant basically out. So, yeah, I hope that let's see. Let me keep looking here.
2 flight.
Go flight.
Oh, Ian.
At this time, let's continue our briefing for the rest of EDL.
Sure. So after coming out of EDL start, that's our last real reinforcement of the state that the vehicle was in throughout much of cruise and EDL approach. And it's our precursor to making many more radical changes to the state of the vehicle. Matt Wallace said it well the other day. EDL is kind of like a controlled disassembly of the vehicle. As we go through, we need to get rid of the things we don't need anymore and get ready to put our wheels on the ground. So one of the final things that we're doing here is ensuring that our ACS knowledge is top-notch. We depend on ACS to pass an estimate of the vehicle's attitude and rate of change to each starting point for propagating down to the ground. When we come up in the EDL prep anchor is when we'll take the last state from ACS, and we'll be propagating from that point to the ground until we get more knowledge from the radar once we turn it on. I can give a high-level overview of some of the events that are going to transpire.
Okay, so I'm going to keep answering some of you guys' questions because we've heard quite a bit of this. This is a really good question from Alice Wade. Is there a reason the spacecraft don't try to slow down in space before hitting the atmosphere to reduce stress on the heat shield / parachute? There's a very good reason, and that's a fantastic question. So in order to slow down without any other external force in space, if you're in space, there's no atmosphere. And by the way, sorry that Mars looks like it has a big old chunk taken out of it right now. Looks like the simulation is a little bit broken here. But yeah, so as far as if you need to slow down in space, if it is, if there's there's no atmosphere to push against, there's nothing to slow you down, you have to use propellant. Propellant weighs something. So in order to slow down before you hit the atmosphere, this is the same with re-entering Earth or anywhere else, you have to carry that propellant. So if you have to take the propellant up there to slow you down before you get to where you are, you have to have a much bigger rocket. It's called the basically the tyranny of the rocket equation. So for every, especially interplanetary stuff, for every 1 kilogram of weight, so say for every 1 kilogram of propellant that you send to Mars, requires about 100 kilograms of weight on Earth. So it would take a substantially larger rocket to get something to Mars if it needed fuel to slow down. Because don't forget, it's going, as we can see here, velocity about 14,000 kilometers an hour. So instead, what's a lot lighter weight, simpler, and actually completely free, basically, is to let the atmosphere do the work. Let the atmosphere slow you down. Yes, there's a lot of stress. Yes, there's a lot of heat, but those are forces that you can design around. You can make, it's a lot lighter weight to design something to handle those high temperatures, to handle those high G loads, relatively high G loads. Likely, I don't remember exactly what it is for this mission, but peak G on reentry for Earth is like never really above like 5 Gs. So it's not that high of design constraint when you're designing a vehicle to survive those forces. So yeah, it's so it's pretty important. It's pretty important to remember that every kilogram of mass going to anywhere really in space is vital. So if you have to put a whole bunch of mass to have extra fuel to slow down, your entire system is bigger, heavier. Your rocket's more expensive and bigger. Yeah, so that's kind of why, but that's a fantastic question. From Noel, could they use the helicopter to blow off the eventual collecting dust on the solar panels of the rover? Well, Noel, that's actually a great question, but the Perseverance rover does not have any solar panels. Only the Ingenuity helicopter has some solar panels. But as far as solar panels on the rover, it does not use that. It uses what's called RTG, so radioisotopic thermal nuclear generator. So it's basically a little bit of decaying, decaying whatchamacallit. Yeah, it's and it's basically just creating a bunch of heat. Someone remind me, what's it? It's decaying plutonium. Thank you. Decaying plutonium, and it produces a lot of heat, and they can turn that heat into energy. Yeah, it's a little man-made tree or human-made tree in a little box, basically, that takes that is going to be able to produce oxygen for the first time. So, looks like, yeah. Sorry if you guys refresh. It looks like I may have gone down for a second. Jason says, what is the engine out capability on the retro stage? Do all the engines need to work perfectly, or can they lose an engine or two and still land softly? Good question. So the actual Sky Crane vehicle has a pair that has 8 engines, and in 4 pairs of engines, they can actually lose 4 of them and still continue proper descent and do everything they need to do with just 4 of those engines. So with half of them. Yes, I know this is there a live telemetry in actual? All right, we'll get. I'm going to try and debug Mars here by refreshing it. Amen, live. Oh, there we go. Mars does not have a chunk taken out of it now.
And IVP, and we are now propagating via the DIMU. We've powered on our UHF, but it's not yet transmitting. And the anchor has complete. We expect our next anchor to start in 2 minutes.
Okay, I'm seeing if we have.
Copy activity.
Okay. I'll turn their audio back up. Let's see here. Is this live telemetry actually any better, though? I'm trying to see. It's lacking a lot of the information.
Phase 2 taking a battery change.
So that's a good question. How hard is it to guide a vehicle through heat shield aero braking? So as far as guidance, it doesn't take much because it's actually passively stable. When a vehicle has a blunt body like that, a normal heat shield, it is passively stable. So even if you lose all control, it inherently will want to go heat shield first. So yeah, that's
feedback on that.
And that's just kind of how that works. But what you can do is you can still rotate and steer it a little bit and have your center of mass slightly outside of your main heat shield. Your center of mass can be slightly outside of your center of lift. And what you can do is you can actually literally rotate the capsule to help lift or dive down deeper into the atmosphere. Let's see. Oh, I have to go back to kilometers again. Thank you, Flo. I like this one. This one looks a lot better than the other one. The other one, although it might be legit real-time data, it doesn't have much. And people are noticing that, yes, it is speeding up because it is literally falling towards Mars right now.
The HRS vent anchor has begun. Here we are reinforcing the BCB discharge and charge states.
That's a good question. We don't. You still have it. What is going on? Hopefully it comes back. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I definitely need Starlink down here. I got Starlink back in Iowa now, where I don't need it, but I don't have Starlink down here yet. Hopefully that does not happen anymore. I do apologize. There's absolutely nothing I can do about it. Power is very intermittent here still in southern Texas. We are on batteries and everything, but okay, so they're making progress here. I could go to a hotspot if we need to. It might be a little bit more reliable.
We are powering off the cruise stage devices.
The vehicle is preparing for the upcoming cruise stage deceleration in about 3 minutes 15 seconds by powering off all the devices on the cruise stage in order that they can be safe once the cruise stage is jettisoned.
We are firing our first pyros to vent the HRS liquid and gas.
Okay, we're getting ready for them. They're going to be separating the cruise stage here soon, so after that, it will not have the solar panels connected to it.
The HRS vent anchor is complete. We will see the next anchor in approximately 3 minutes.
We are currently 12.5 minutes from entry interface. We are coming upon cruise stage separation in 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Sweet. Okay, 2 minutes, 20 seconds from that cruise stage detaching from the aeroshell and the heat shield, of which the Perseverance rover and the Sky Crane are tucked inside of right now. So that's really good news. They're right on track. Everything is perfectly, they're aiming right exactly at the portion of the atmosphere they need to be aimed at. So once the cruise stage separates, it's pretty much going where it's going at this point. There's nothing that's really going to change its trajectory or anything. So at this point, it's just boop, and we go. So, oh man, we're getting close. This is crazy. I'm sorry that I'm going to be missing a ton of your guys' super chats, but I will try and get back to them as soon as I can. Let me make sure that this one appears to not be live.
We're switching to the MFSK tones. Telemetry will have stopped.
Telecom is confirming that the spacecraft has switched to broadcasting tones. These tones are received directly from Perseverance, but have very limited information content. We won't receive real-time information until about 9-10 minutes from now, once the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter starts relaying information from Perseverance. We are under a minute from cruise stage separation, about 10.5 minutes from entry interface.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, guys. So, yeah, so again, we're waiting to hear that they have confirmation. And again, this has all in real life happened already, but it takes 11 minutes for that signal to get back to Earth today, just because of the rendezvous, how far away Mars is from Earth at this exact moment. So in real life, it's happened.
Continuing to receive tones from Perseverance, standing by for cruise stage separation.
But the speed of light takes 11 minutes, so...
RCS priming.
I don't know. I mean, this is obviously not real-time video, so let's...
Cruise stage sep.
We have indication that cruise stage separation has been confirmed by the spacecraft.
That's awesome. So now we are T-minus 10 minutes from entering...
1 minute, Perseverance's landing software will wake up and begin the final preparations for entry. The first action it will do is to fire warm-up pulses with its entry thrusters. These pulses ensure that the spacecraft gets the thrust that it wants during entry interface. We're about 9 minutes from entry interface.
That's awesome. So yeah, so like she said, they're coming up on having it actually enter Mars's atmosphere, and everything is looking absolutely bang on right now. So this is very good news. Once it hits the atmosphere, it's basically going to be 7 minutes. Again, a fun reminder is everything that we're seeing now in real life, the thing is actually in the atmosphere falling towards Mars. But again, the delay of the actual speed of light to tell us this.
That we got shadowed by the cruise stage as it passed through our beam to the Earth.
Telecom indicated actually that we could see a signal that the cruise stage went between the Perseverance entry capsule and Earth. So we saw a little blip, the data stream indicating cruise stage separation.
So you heard there
we
real
have
quick.
Confirmation.
RCS warm-up, that means that they are warming up the actual thrusters for the cruise stage, so they're going to be de-spinning it now using the reaction control thruster. So that's RCS, reaction control system. And so they're going to get ready to be able to control it still through re-entry.
The cruise 2 revolutions per minute down to 0, and then we'll turn to its desired orientation from entry. It will separate the 2 balance masks that has kept it balanced during all of cruise. This will allow the entry capsule to have lift when it enters the atmosphere. We have confirmation that the spacecraft has turned to the desired entry attitude. We're about 7.5 minutes from entry interface.
Sweet. Oh, it's crazy to think that someday this is going to be humans doing this. That is, I mean, I don't know what I'll be doing then. I will be honestly crying just in thinking about how scary that's going to be. Let's see here. I'm going to try. I've missed a couple of you guys' big super chats, and I really apologize. But I think for the next little bit, I'm just going to be listening in, guys. We'll get to your super chats later. So thank you for those of you that...
Points carrier lock.
For those of you that have donated, thank you so much. It means a lot right now, especially just the past week. But I'm going to just listen in here, guys, and I'll help interpret whatever I'm hearing so that you guys know what's going on.
Flight level 1.
We are continuing to wait for entry interface. We're about 6 minutes and 45 seconds from entry interface. We have confirmation from Greenback that they are receiving direct-to-Earth telemetry via that path. The spacecraft Perseverance is currently transmitting heartbeat tones. These tones indicate that Perseverance is operating normally and has nothing significant to report. This is as expected. We're currently just over 6 minutes from entry interface.
So, yeah, again, guys, we're hoping that everything is normal, as we may say. And, you know, we're seeing that, you know, it's, again, 11-minute delay. So it's coming up basically on the touchdown in real life. So there's a good chance that right now the Sky Crane is doing its job and it's lowering Perseverance onto the surface as we speak. If you could somehow forget the laws of physics and the 11-minute delay of the speed of light to get the signal back here to tell us that happened, that's what you would be seeing right now.
We're about 5.5 minutes from entry interface. We're still receiving heartbeat tones. We expect to continue receiving heartbeat tones until about 5 minutes after entry. At that time, Perseverance will be no longer in view of our antennas here on Earth. About 90 seconds prior to entry, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter should begin receiving telemetry from Perseverance and streaming it to Earth in near real time. There are a few expected short outages, such as when we have a plasma blackout or when we enter the peak heating phase. Aside from these outages caused by the plasma blackout, antenna switching, or high dynamic events, spacecraft events, we should have telemetry until about 90 seconds after landing. A plasma blackout is when the signal from Perseverance isn't strong enough to make it through the superheated, super fast air flowing around the spacecraft all the way down to Earth. Once the temperature drops below that peak heating, we do reacquire the signal from Perseverance. We are currently about 4.5 minutes from entry interface. Perseverance continues to report heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal.
Ooh, baby.
MRO reports the electro radio is powered on, ready to receive signals from the lander.
Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter has reported that it's ready to receive the signals from Perseverance. It should be in a few minutes here. We're just
Flight local 1
from entry interface.
So the next thing we're waiting is to hear that it's beginning entry, so that it will actually have entered Mars's atmosphere.
Around this time, a second spacecraft, MAVEN, should begin picking up telemetry from Perseverance and will continue to record that telemetry until several minutes post-landing. We won't get that data for several hours after landing as it's being recorded and then will be forwarded to Earth later. We are continuing to receive heartbeat tones, indicating that everything is nominal. We're currently at about 3 minutes until entry interface.
So I feel like people are still asking a lot of questions about this. Again, the countdown clock is about when we should expect to know that it landed. So I know this is hard to grasp and hard to explain too. It takes 11 minutes for us to know what actually happened. So right now, Perseverance has hit Mars. Whether or not it hit it softly and is in one piece as it's intended, it has touched down on Mars. It will take us about 8 more minutes to actually know.
Perseverance is to transmit heartbeat tones, indicating everything is nominal.
So I think we have entered Mars's atmosphere. We're waiting to hear official word for sure. I might have jumped the gun a little bit, but it's...
We're just under 2 minutes from entry interface. As it gets closer to Mars,
2 minutes.
Perseverance is actually being pulled in by gravity and accelerating. By the time Perseverance reaches entry interface point, she should be going just under 5.4 kilometers per second. We're at about 90 seconds from entry interface and standing by for Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to pick up the telemetry.
All right, guys. So we're just waiting for good confirmation that it has entered Mars' atmosphere.
We are 1 minute from entry interface.
All right, heartbeat check, everybody. Make sure you're breathing. This is the moment here. So hopefully we get good call out.
MROs are in receive mode.
We have confirmation that the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter is now relaying data from Perseverance. We're about 30 seconds from entry interface. Perseverance is going about 5.2 kilometers per second and is about 190 kilometers altitude above the surface of Mars.
Confirm your jet data flow.
So the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter actually has acquisition of signal right now. Ooh, I like seeing that.
Seconds from
MCLW on.
5.3 kilometers per second and an altitude of about 150 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
So just get these little blips of data. Entry, yes.
We have confirmation of entry interface. Perseverance is currently going 5.3 kilometers per second at an altitude of about 120 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
Oh, baby. Here we go.
The spacecraft is now waiting until it begins feeling the atmosphere of Mars to slow it down. Once there is enough atmosphere, it will start controlling its path to the landing target.
Doppler indicates entry into the atmosphere.
Navigation is also confirming that we can see a little bit of that slowdown of the atmosphere on the Perseverance entry capsule. Our current velocity is about 5.36 kilometers per second and an altitude of about 67 kilometers from the surface.
We are probably seeing MRO plasma blackout at this point.
So they're getting into the peak entry heating.
Bank 1 completed.
And pretty much right about now,
MRO has lost log.
They're around the maximum deceleration.
Probably indicate reversal, bank reversal.
We have indications that Perseverance is now performing bank reversals in the atmosphere. These are the steps in order to control its
max
distance
10 Gs
to the landing target. Perseverance has just passed through the point of maximum deceleration and has indicated that it felt approximately 10 Earth Gs of deceleration.
Oh,
MRO
wow.
has lock again.
10 Gs?
Doppler indicate reversal.
Bank 2 complete.
We saw a small outage of the UHF telemetry from Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter during that peak heating phase, likely caused by the plasma blackout. Perseverance is still continuing to perform bank reversals in the atmosphere to control its distance to the landing target.
Doppler indicate reversal.
End of range control, range minus 1.9 kilometers, cross range minus 2.4 kilometers.
Okay, so next thing we're waiting to hear is that they have
Perseverance
confirmation.
is going about 1 kilometer per second at an altitude of about 16 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have entered heading alignment, which means Perseverance is no longer trying to control the distance to Mars, but to the target on Mars, but instead is flying straight to the target.
So again, they can kind of control a little bit of the pitch because although it's just a circle, it can actually have some lift forces by having an offset center of mass. They can change when they roll like this. They can actually have it lift or bank a little bit, steer left and right, and they can kind of null out or help hone in. But now they're just letting it be nulled and just go straight to the site. So the next thing we're waiting for is parachute deployment. A good call out for parachute deployment.
Our current velocity is about 550 meters per second at an altitude of about 15 kilometers from the surface.
MRO is reporting good telemetry log.
We are coming upon the
start.
We are starting the straighten up and fly right maneuver,
UBMD jettison.
where the spacecraft will jettison the entry balance masses in preparation for parachute deploy and to roll over to give the radar a better look at the ground.
Doppler indicates shoot deploy.
Shoot deploy, baby.
The navigation has confirmed that the parachute has deployed, and we are seeing significant deceleration in the velocity. Our current velocity is 440 meters per second at an altitude of about 12 kilometers from the surface of Mars.
They're doing it, guys. I want to see this thing. This thing has 20-some cameras that I want to see this footage. They're recording this. This is actually going to be sent back to us and uploaded. Heat shield
Perseverance
separation.
has now slowed to subsonic speeds, and the heat shield has been separated. This allows both the radar and the cameras to get their first look at the surface. Current velocity is 145 meters per second at an altitude of about 9.5 kilometers above the surface.
It's looking good. Oh man, this thing needs to land. I gotta see all these cameras. I gotta see this footage. So now the next thing they're gonna do is they're going to detach from the parachutes and from the back shell and just let it fall for a second completely.
Net filter converge. Velocity solution 3.3 meters per second. Altitude 7.4 kilometers.
Now has radar lock on the ground. Current velocity is about 100 meters per second, 6.6 kilometers above the surface of Mars.
Okay, get ready. The detach and free fall is terrifying.
Perseverance is continuing to descend on the parachute. We're coming up on the initialization of terrain relative navigation and subsequently the priming of the landing engines. Our current velocity is about 90 meters per second at an altitude of 4.2 kilometers.
So close. They're so close.
OVS valid.
We have confirmation that the lander vision system has produced a valid solution and part of terrain relative navigation.
Priming. TBA is nominal.
We have priming of the landing engines.
They're getting ready to detach and free fall.
Back shell set.
Back shell set.
83 meters per second at about 2.6 kilometers from the surface of Mars. We have confirmation that the back shell has separated. We are currently performing the divert maneuver. Current velocity is about 75 meters per second at an altitude of about a kilometer off the surface of Mars.
TRN Safety Bravo.
We have completed our terrain relative navigation. Current speed is about 30 meters per second, altitude of about 300 meters off the surface of Mars.
SDS level.
Constant velocity
104.
accordion. Constant velocity accordion, altitude error.
We have started our constant velocity accordion, which means we are conducting the sky crane, about to conduct the sky crane maneuver.
We've lost direct-to-earth tones.
Throttle down.
Sky crane maneuver has started. About 20 meters.
Tango Delta.
Tango Delta, is that
Nominal.
touchdown?
We're getting signals from MRO.
Rim stable.
UHF is good.
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely
Yes.
on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the signs of past life.
Yes. Oh. Yes, that is awesome.
At this point, the descent stage has flown away to a safe distance.
Yes.
Perseverance is continuing to transmit direct through
Yes.
Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to Earth.
Oh, that feels good. That's what yes. Yes. Oh, that's what 2021 needed, baby. That is awesome. Oh. They have to feel.
Reports they're still getting telemetry from the lander.
So right now the sky crane is actually flying
All right,
away.
all stations. Touchdown confirmed. We're going to wait for the images.
Now we're going to get some images already. Oh my gosh, come on. That is amazing. Oh. How do they do that? Hopefully we see some pictures and data coming back very quickly. That is awesome. It's already tweeting, I'm safe on Mars.
OL1, you have what you need?
OL3, I have what I need. Flight, we have seen the completion of EDL 3000.
Copy.
Copy activity. That is as expected.
Someone's comms are on.
MRO is still seeing a strong signal from the lander.
Flight, this is OL3. I am ready to share.
Someone's getting emotional on air.
OL3, you are go. For those on M.
All stations stand by for the images. Yes!
Let's see it. Let's see it.
Woo!
Oh, that's awesome. I love that it's just this teeny little blip for now. Low res image for right now, but
Flight, this is OL3. I have the target point on the map when you are ready.
We are ready, OL3. Go for it.
where do they land? I bet they can't wait to know where exactly they landed.
Oh.
That's crazy.
Flight, I'll be moving in, showing you the safe zone that we've landed in.
Oh, that picture is awesome. So again, as they have more and more bandwidth, they're going to start uploading as much stuff as they can. Telemetry, all the data, images, videos, and audio. Oh, I cannot wait.
OL flight.
So I think one of the big things we're going to be waiting on now is where exactly has it touched down in the Jezero Crater? Where?
T-R-N.
I don't think people know their mics are still live. That is hilarious.
Can we get the cliff image, OL?
So don't worry. This actually, the Perseverance does have color cameras. So at first they just uploaded the lowest resolution images possible, basically.
Can we get the other image? Should show the cliff.
Show a cliff? Are they standing next to a
sorry,
cliff?
say what image again? I'm not understanding.
Flight OL3.
OL3.
You can see we've landed about 35 meters from the nearest rocks that we could identify from orbit by their shadows.
Oh, cool.
Copy OL3. TRN in action.
Yep. Take that, Jezero. Woo!
Flight, I remember this spot. It looks good.
That's awesome.
Copy OL3. I'm sure that you have seen them all and you recognize them all. So.
Whoa. So we're getting views of cameras from all around it. It has cameras all around the deck. And some really, really high image, like a 20...
Port Electra still in lock with the lander.
20
we have seen the transition to surface. EDL is done.
Woo! Woo-hoo! Transition to surface.
That's awesome. It has officially transferred into being able to use surface ops now. So it's no longer thinking it has to worry about landing. It has landed. It is officially beginning operation on Mars.
Perseverance team and the whole team that's not here as well. Excellent job.
A reminder, EDL, entry, descent, and landing. So that's what we were just basically seeing for the last, especially the last like 10 minutes, was the entry, descent, and landing portion. It is officially out of that now. It does not need to be worried about landing on Mars. It is on Mars. It is sitting there ready to go, ready to start transmitting back images, the video from coming in from entry. This will be the first good quality video with audio through entry of Mars ever.
Downstairs. If you're part of that story to the surface team, make sure you're starting to work those inputs, please.
This is a good question. Eric, I think referring to technically isn't the Sky Crane considered as first powered controlled flight on Mars? Because you might be hearing people say it's the first powered flight or controlled flight on Mars when they're talking about the Ingenuity helicopter. And I think they often forget to mention aerodynamic controlled flight, where it's using the atmosphere only. Obviously Sky Crane for Curiosity and for Perseverance, both are using controlled flight, but technically all under the thruster fire. So it's not anything with aerodynamic forces. It's using controlled flight schemes by thrust vectoring, by using differentiating thrust. Sorry, not actually thrust vectoring. The thrusters are actually stationary, but it has differentiating thrust, just like a drone normally would, or a quadcopter. But there's the four different, basically on all corners of the vehicle, they can control its entire trajectory and its landing softly, and all of its control using just those thrusters. So yeah, that's a good thing to say, or a good thing to notice. So the success of Mars missions will change today. I'll tell you what, guys, NASA, JPL, Lockheed Martin, they are absolutely knocking these out of the park. This is now how many landers in a row? I mean,
OL1, this is AL2, voice check.
Hey, are we going to listen in?
I just want to announce to everybody I've taken a first pass at the surface transition report. I've got some numbers from the script, and I'm awaiting inputs from a couple people still, and confirmation from others. It's ready for review.
Copy. The end of that was it's ready for review. Are you asking people to take a look at your cache report?
That's right. It's ready for review. I'm looking for confirmation from a handful of folks on some of the values before making it final.
Copy. Do you want that confirmation over the SNET?
The process is to work it over email. I've sent out an email that they can reply to.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this is the third lander in a row now for the United States. The last one that failed for the United States was the Mars Polar Lander, and that was in 1999. So it's been 20 years, 3 landers now, all successful, going from Curiosity to the Mars InSight lander, and now Perseverance on the surface of Mars, operating successfully. So that's pretty incredible. And just to put that into perspective, because Mars is really hard, the last missions outside of the United States, there's a Schiaparelli lander, which was a joint mission with ESA and Russia. That failed in 2016. The United Kingdom had a failed lander in 2003. Russia had a failed in 96. Basically, from there on out, it's the Soviet Union's only had a partial success. Other than that, the United States and NASA, JPL have really been the only ones that just nail this. And so it's pretty amazing. Well, I think now they have a system in place, it's just absolutely incredible. So, wow.
TADS and TAD1, OL1, can we go ahead and get handoff ready to go for our final Monte Carlo for today?
This is TAD1. We're already working on it.
Copy. Can you tell me what OD that's on?
The latest one I have is 137. I'll go jump into the nav room and confirm that's the last one.
Copy.
Oh, well, this is Top 1. We're ready to run that Monte Carlo when the handoff is ready.
Copy. Thanks, Top 1.
Sweet.
TAD 1, this is TAD 2.
So you might hear them say Monte Carlo. Those are simulations. So they're going to be plugging in the data that they got back and see the exact, I'm guessing they're going to want to look over the exact EDL. But I'm not entirely sure what they're doing Monte Carlo for now. It's a...
TAD 1 is currently talking to Nav. Stand by.
A friendly reminder, too, people are wondering what happened. There are actually, as we speak, there are 3 Mars missions that have been successful this year so far. All 3 of them took off last summer, 2020. We have the Hope Alamar mission, which just got into orbit last week. We also got the Tianwen. So the UAE was the Hope mission, and Tianwen is China's mission. So far, all missions are successful, but those so far are just getting into orbit of Mars. The Hope mission is not going to land, so it's just did basically a capture burn, and in a couple months it'll do more of a circularization burn and get into its operational mission. So we kind of have to wait to see if that's successful. And the China mission will be hitting the atmosphere. It's in orbit now, and it's going to be just kind of getting itself ready to land in a couple months.
That last Monte Carlo before we start this one? Or if I should get HBC on it so you can focus on the handoff.
How far along is it?
5,700 cases.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and kill it.
Thank you, Dad. One.
This is a good question here. When will we get the video and the audio from this? Because again, they actually did record audio of entry, descent, and landing for the first time. So it'll probably take a while. Notice that the images that we're seeing coming back are very low resolution, just single still images. You know, video has between 24, 30 to 60 frames per second. So if you're going to have 7 minutes of high resolution images and audio in there, it's going to take quite a while to be able to send all those packets of data back up from Mars. And currently it can use the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter to have a faster uplink. But it will still take quite a while, and I don't have an exact time. I'll be listening in and see if they mention anything about that, how long it might take. But it will take quite a long while before we see higher quality images, higher quality videos, and stuff like that. So, yeah, we'll be listening in here. But I wanted to thank you guys all for hanging out with me today. We'll be listening in for quite a bit longer. Keep learning and see if we can see if they start mentioning any fun facts about where exactly they landed. That's kind of the next thing. It's going to be a long time before they really start roving around on Mars. But for now, it's definitely time to celebrate. It's definitely time to be excited and just have a sigh of relief, a collective sigh of relief for everybody, even those of you watching. It's okay now just to big old fat cheers. Let's see it in the chat, everybody. Just cheers to JPL, NASA, Lockheed Martin. Cheers to Mars. Cheers to humans doing awesome things. How about that? That's what I think. This is, the friendly reminder of just how incredible humans are, and the fact that we can send something that weighs a metric ton, so like 2,200 pounds or whatever it is, to the surface of Mars. That's going to be driving around, and then it's going to be flying a drone around on the surface of Mars. I mean, this is awesome. This is the stuff that makes me just really excited to live in this day and age. This is the type of stuff that just makes me happy. And excited and looking forward to the future, because we are able to do awesome things like this. So hopefully soon, I still think in this decade, there's a small chance we might be sending humans off to go walk around on Mars and maybe pick up some of those core samples that this rover will be picking up. That's one of the fun things about this mission, is it's going to be drilling into the surface of Mars, collecting them in tube samples, and then caching them and having kind of a bank of them where something else can come along and pick them up. And so we'll have done a lot of the work for them. They can land and just put them on a small rocket and send that back to Earth. Or, hang on.
Everyone.
This will be a little update.
All right, all stations. Congratulations, but believe it or not, we have a job to do now.
OL1, TAD 1.
Go, TAD 1.
Are we ready to look at the handoff?
Surface flight, this is flight.
Yes, please.
Should I go ahead and just share it in the WebEx that we're working now?
Yes, please.
Go ahead, flight.
I just
TAD 1,
want to
do we have
confirm
your
that
eyes?
your team is ready to receive Perseverance.
I am paying attention.
Copy.
We are ready to receive Perseverance.
Okay,
Are you ready for
the new one is on the left?
Not yet.
The 121 is on the right.
We'll let the team here have... not yet. We'll
sorry,
let the team here have a few minutes with the telemetry, and then we'll do our briefing. Remember to put the details in capture for your counterpart on the surface team.
OD-137 spread.
And then we will do an over-VOCA report.
And I don't think anything else actually changes in this.
Surface FD, are you staying on 20 ops or
other
switching
than
to...
So I think it's going to be a few minutes before they get something figured out here, before they do a briefing. And they're definitely talking over what the next steps are here. So meanwhile, let's keep going here for you guys. This is from Dark Zach. Would the 10G mentioned be safe for the average human after a voyage in micro Gs? I don't know the exact... I mean, humans can survive 10 Gs, but yeah, would that be the best idea after experiencing 6 months of weightlessness? Probably not. A human profile would have to be a lot lower G loads than 10 Gs. I think that'd be too great of a shock. I mean, I don't think you die from 10 Gs, but I don't think that's in the best interest of the astronauts that would be on board of a vehicle someday. That's why one of the things about Starship is that because it has such a large lifting body, it can actually stay up in the upper atmosphere. It has a lot higher lift-to-drag ratio, even though it's not using those flaps like wings at all. Just using the fuselage of Starship, it can tip up and stay in the upper atmosphere longer and have a more gradual lower G load. Okay, hold on.
For your efforts to you and your team, and for giving us a great trajectory here.
You're welcome.
EDL OL 1 or 3, this is EDL phase on EDL ops.
Phase, this is OL1.
Can I get a copy of those pictures sent to me, where the map is, or where we came down, where we targeted, both in hazard map and not hazard map mode?
OL3 gave me a thumbs up. You should have those shortly.
People asking how many Gs is something like the Dragon capsule. Dragon capsule, I think, peak at highest point in reentry, the highest that they're supposed to ever experience, I believe, was 5, with more of an RMS, like an average of about 3 Gs. So 10 Gs is substantial. 10 Gs of load is substantial. Yeah, I'm sad that instead of getting out champagne and they're having to pass out hand sanitizer. It's not quite as fun. Let's see here. Let's see here. So thank you guys so much for all of you. Again, for those of you that are listening and watching, if you guys do want to help me continue to do more, one of the videos I'm working on right now that's taking a lot longer than I thought, because when you don't have internet or power or running water, it's become quite hard to make videos. But the video that I'm working on right now is why exactly Starship does the belly flop maneuver. So going into the exact physics of why they're doing it so late, why they're doing the flip maneuver, why they belly flop. Is it safe? Will it ever be safe for humans? So we do talk about G loads on humans. We will, we will be doing a really, really deep rundown. A lot of good animations talking about things like thrust to weight ratio, gravity drag / gravity losses. We'll be talking about a lot of, let's see, terminal velocity. It's going to be a really good video. It's about 40 minutes long. So for those of you that like my deep dives, this is a very deep dive. And it's an important reminder of why Starship is doing something so radical and so different, and why is it worth doing that? So it'll be a really good video. I have to apologize that it's taken so long. I thought that I was going to be done with this a week ago, but it's been a harder video than I thought. And put on top of that, no power, no internet and stuff like that has made it very, very, very difficult. So if you guys do want to help me do stuff like this and make all the videos I make better and higher quality, and to be able to produce more and more and hire more people to help me do what I do, consider becoming a Patreon supporter by going to patreon.com/everydayastronaut. So patreon.com/everydayastronaut. You can join our awesome Discord channel. And you can hang out with our awesome community, ask questions, help provide answers for me, because I obviously don't know everything, and I learn a lot from our community all the time. So come say hi. It's a really fun place. Also, I did want to mention, we do have this shirt, the entire Future Martian Society collection, on sale today. You can use coupon code TOUCHDOWN, all one word, lowercase, touchdown. And you can get 10% off of anything in our Future Martian Society collection. The fun thing about these shirts is they have a lot of extra details, such as you can see the little, on the sleeve here, it shows you the exact Martian atmosphere, the gravity, reminder to wear a spacesuit. But then the cool thing is on the back here, it does show Arcadia Planatia and the exact coordinates of where Starship might land someday. So this is a really cool shirt. You can get your own by going to everydayastronaut.com/shop and use coupon code TOUCHDOWN for 10% off of anything in that lineup today. Or you can be like Elon and his and Baby X. I don't know if you saw the video on Twitter the other day, but Baby X was seen wearing a full flow stage combustion cycle hoodie. or not a hoodie, a onesie. He'd be really cute in a hoodie too. But yeah, you go to everydayastronaut.com/shop if you guys want to support me and get some awesome stuff for yourself as well. But meanwhile, let's go back to this. Thank you, Michael. I'm going to listen
Likely
in here.
have cleared, or it's likely on the DPAM.
Correct, Flight. I don't see any indications from the EVRs that indicates that we retripped some RPAM-related monitors. And we'll have to look at the recorded EVRs when we get them down to see what exactly happened. But it looks like, at least what we have so far, that whatever it was has since cleared.
Copy, FP.
Oh, thank you very much. From Tech, I really appreciate that. Or from, I think I kind of messed up. From John Hart, had a very generous donation. Thank you very much, John Hart. Said my Patreon payment method got messed up without me knowing for a while. Hope this helps make up the difference. Thanks. Well, thank you very much, John. That's really not necessary, but I really do appreciate that. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for all of those that have helped me make this a career, not just a little dream. So you guys are amazing, including David here saying, hopefully this is, it's not working. I'm not sure why this is happening, but I will try and fix this. But we did have David Hernandez also from Mexico. Thank you guys so much. Let me refresh and see if I can get it. Let me listen in here.
Our pyro safety status is reading 268 ohms, which is armed and disabled. Pyro CRCs are still enabled from the end of EDL, and the RPFA is powered off.
Copy. Avionics. Avionics flight, voice check. All right, let's move on to telecom. We'll get back to you, Avionics.
Yeah, flight telecom by design had got very, very little telemetry during EDL itself and on the surface once we landed. However, judging by the performance, we can say that telecom is healthy. Certainly the descent stage radio and amplifier did its job spectacularly. The electrolyte A worked spectacularly. We did do the final switch to the rough antenna on the Rover. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to talk to MRO after landing. So we know where the switch has connected Electra A to the rough, ready for the first relay pass, which will be Odyssey in a couple of hours. Other than that, telecom is healthy and ready to go for surface operations.
Wow.
Copy. Thermal?
Thermal is nominal and as expected. We have limited data, which again is expected. We saw a 50-degree increase on the RTG after the HRS vent, which is in line with both what we expected and what we saw on MSL. That filtered in. We've seen some small increases on ramp and associated HRS electronics as expected. Everything everything is nominal right now.
Nominal.
Flight software.
Flight, this is flight software. Flight software performed and is performing excellently. Health monitoring has been restored on the transitioner surface. We show Earth in control. Everything looks green.
Copy. ACS. How's your subsystem doing on the surface?
It's doing great. ACS gave a great pep talk to the nav filter, giving it a good attitude for EDL. Telemetry looked great just before it was idled, and presumably ACS is now sitting in a new crater on Mars.
Copy. And prop, how much fuel did you leave?
The cruise stage burnt up with 55.91 kilograms of propellant, and the descent stage consumed 305 kilograms out of the 401
load. So we flew away with about 96 kilograms of propellant. But otherwise, propulsion performed nominally. We did see successful boot of the DMCA into M6W mode as expected. We then did see successful activation of the 8 TVAs, and they were nominal. Closed-loop flyaway was then commanded nominally, and the warning EVRs after closed-loop flyaway are expected.
Copy. DMX?
So to put that in perspective, the Sky Crane itself only used about 75% of its fuel, so it actually still had a good remaining amount of fuel, 25% left. That's awesome. Do notice that they measure everything in kilograms. A lot of people will be like, you live in America, why aren't you doing America units? Obviously I grew up with imperial units like most of the rest of us in the United States, but don't forget, NASA has been using metric almost the entire time. SpaceX, all the other aerospace companies all use metric exclusively. So we heard them measuring the weight of the propellant in kilograms. So
on different places on Mars, one of the most important pieces is still on the rover. The VCE is healthy throughout all of EDL, performed its job admirably, and has the data from entry, descent, and landing. So is go for Sol 1 activities to retrieve that data.
Copy, GNC. And ACE?
Flight Ace, all of our systems worked as expected. We have disconnected from the command system, and we have all 4 stations standing by for us to release them.
Copy. So at this point, the release, I'll leave to Surface Flight and Surface Ace. Are you going to be Surface Ace or?
That's perfect. These stations won't be around when we're using them the next time.
Understood. They're probably done for the day, but I don't want to presume anything. I'll leave that up to Surface Flight to figure out.
Copy that.
Okay. And left the last here, Activity Lead. Is it Activity Lead 1 or 2?
Activity Lead 2.
All right, Activity Lead 2.
Flight, this is Activity Lead 2. I can confirm that EDL was nominal, as we know. I've filled out the cacher report with all the key details about the landed lat long position, the estimated touchdown velocities. We've got a estimated rover attitude in 3 dimensions from RIMU real-time data products in there, and everything is nominal. The one piece we're still missing is the MRO loss of signal time, but I'll be adding that to the report as soon as possible. And we cannot assess the state of the EDL cameras. We didn't get an EHA update since prior to entry, but otherwise, all is well.
Copy. Activity. Avionics.
Flight avionics, can you copy?
I got you.
Says nominal. RC Alpha is prime. RC Bravo is powered off. From the pre-EDL EHA, the primeness is as expected. We don't have any additional telemetry. At least I don't, indicating whether we swapped PAMs or not. But the RC spans and buses are healthy. The all PAM states are expected.
So everything is looking really good. I wanted to answer a few more questions for you guys here, but everything so far, from what I've heard, is just incredible. This is a fun one from Rad. How many more years until we stop getting excited about landing, like in the movies? Well, landing is finally becoming less exciting for something like SpaceX's Falcon 9, where it used to be this big, scary deal, and now it's totally normal, right? We are more shocked when it doesn't go well, like it did with the other night's Starlink mission. So my guess is it probably takes about 50 times of something happening relatively closely together before it becomes routine. So we're at 3 now in the past basically 12 years or whatever. So I think it needs to become a lot more routine and normal than that, like probably 50 a year. So I'm guessing it will be 30 years from now before that's going to be even remotely close to the reality. So it'll still be very exciting when things land on the surface, in my opinion. From Lodge Christensen says, will Perseverance rover record the first flight of the Ingenuity helicopter? Greetings from Denmark. Well, hello, Denmark. I think it will, and it literally will point the cameras at Ingenuity, and hopefully they both can record each other and get awesome, never before seen video on the surface of Mars. I'm really, I know that it is actually the plan to watch the first flight of it, so that would be super, super cool. Looks like they're running a little Artemis ad here while they're kind of doing some stuff. So about the onboard helicopter Ingenuity, James wants to know, do I know when they'll first fly the helicopter? I don't remember. I don't know if we've heard an exact date. If I remember right, if I remember, I think they let go of it relatively soon. Yeah. Anybody do you remember? I don't know if I've heard actually. Yeah. From Rizzy, well, thank you very much. From TC, what's the signal delay? Did it land that amount of time before we found out and celebrated, or was that live? So to TC, there's 11 minutes of communications delay. So what we were celebrating was when we got data back telling us that it landed 11 minutes ago, basically, right? So there's nothing that you can do in between that. It's all autonomous. So it's just a matter of like holding your breath and hoping. So so in real life, it was about 45 minutes ago from right now. It landed on the surface, but about 34 minutes ago or so, we actually heard about it and knew for sure. We got the data back. Yeah, and that's pretty awesome. From Flight Coach wants to know, one vital question remains, where is the Mohawk guy? So Babak Ferdowsi. Yes, I actually had Babak in my video about Perseverance. So if you actually want to watch this video here, guys, when you're done, type in Curiosity versus Perseverance, and I give you a very deep rundown on the exact hardware differences between the two rovers, the similarities. But importantly, I even had a interview here. Hang on. Boop. I have a little bit here from Babak Ferdowsi. He answered a couple questions here in my video. So definitely check that out. He is on a different program now. So he does not do, he was there for Curiosity. I don't remember his exact title now, but yeah, I don't exactly remember. But he's still at JPL. He is still at JPL, just not on Perseverance. So that's a good question. Yeah. This is funny from Excel says Norminal. For those of you that don't know what Norminal is, it is just it stems all from a SpaceX. Here, I'll show you guys here. It stems from, here's the normal. Oh, wait, that's not the Norminal hat. Duh. From John Insprucker from SpaceX, one time said it on air, and it's obviously mixing up the words nominal, which we heard them say, which means everything's going as planned, and the word normal, which is of everything's going normal. He said normal. So on July 5th, 2017, SpaceX principal integration engineer John Insprucker accidentally said the word normal, forever cementing it during 35E. So that's where Norminal come from. It's kind of an inside joke in the aerospace community that everything is going well. So even though you'll hear nominal around here, Norminal, at least like for me and my community and kind of some of the spaceflight community, Norminal just means it can be good, it can be bad, it can just be spaceflight. Like literally when things don't go right and you're kind of laughing about it, that's like when Starship blows up, that was Norminal. It was halfway planned, halfway as expected. So yeah, that's what Norminal is for those of you that feel uninitiated to it. Don't worry. I know it's not nominal, and I know that it's not normal. I get a lot of people, hey, you misspelled normal, or you misspelled nominal. It's like, yes, because it's not nominal. Keith, thank you very much. I'm trying my hardest. I promise. Like I said, it's been the last couple months for me, or really the last month has been very challenging trying to do SN9, trying to get a studio space down here in South Texas. And then now for the last week, basically not having power and data and water, it's below freezing temperatures. It's been very hard. We've had it has not been the most fun week of my life. This is a nice little reminder that things can be exciting and worth looking forward to. So thank you. I try. I don't want to set the expectation, guys. People are like, Tim, you're missing this event. My job has never been to just cover every single spaceflight. That was never my intentions with this channel, is to cover all spaceflight events. I'm here to cover what I want to cover, when I want to cover it. I'm not a 24-hour news channel. That is absolutely not my job. My job is to bring space down to Earth for everyday people, is to help cover and teach you guys something. So for me, one of the hardest things or making these videos. The videos that I make take a long time. I have now spent like 14 hours on one dumb animation. Andrew, my co-producer, has not been able to really help with this video at all, unfortunately, because he's busy. He shoots for ESPN, so he's very busy right now with the NHL schedule. So I've been having to make the video entirely by myself, which again, with no data, no power and things like that, has made it very difficult. But that's what I love to do. I love to take these topics that are really in-depth and really almost confusing or intimidating and try and make them, more easily understandable, more digestible. So that's what I like to do best. That's my priority, is doing those. So kind of just so you guys know, just a personal priority for me is making cool videos and helping bring you guys historical events and help break down the science and what's going on behind them. So it's you can be excited and you can think this stuff is cool, because I think if you don't understand this stuff, it's kind of confusing on why is it fun and exciting. And for me, Starship is a huge pull for me, because it feels like the Wild West out here. I don't think I'll ever be able to, in 5 years, cover a rocket like I can Starship. So it is extremely important for me to be able to build a studio space down here and cover Starship as best as I physically can. So, so that's kind of my priority in life. And I hope that you guys are cool with me working on videos and trying to catch all of the different Starship launches. It's a nutty time. And I'm just excited to be able to provide this stuff for you guys. So it's insane. Thank you very much, Mary Francis, and Jennifer for the memberships. You guys are awesome. Hubert says, with a pair character, thank you very much. Charles, great work. Love your videos. Cheers from Norway. Well, thank you very much, Norway. I can't wait to be able to travel internationally and go back and see gorgeous Norway. Hayden, why don't they use the delivery vehicle as a permanent lander instead of just crashing it? So we kind of talk about that in my video. Why don't they just land it on the surface, and then have the rover drive off of it and stuff? There's a handful of reasons. But as we mentioned at the beginning of the stream, one of the biggest reasons why you don't want to do that is you really want to have all of your mass on the vehicle driving around, right? If you have the option of having it be stationary versus having it drive around. So we're actually going to see something similar like you're talking about on China's Tianwen-1 mission. That will actually have a lander with some science instruments, a rover, a small rover, and then it has an orbiter, a lander and a rover. So there's some science instruments on each. But, I think the idea is, why not just put all of your science instruments on the thing that can move around safely? It actually takes more, if they're making sure the sky crane lands softly, it's going to require more hardware. It'd require more fuel. It would have the potential to still potentially land on Curiosity. It would require more mass for landing gear. Basically, you might as well just put all the science instruments on the thing that can rove around and drive around. There's really no point in at the end of the day in trying to have something else sitting on the surface of Mars that can't move when you have something that can move around. It's actually lighter weight to do it that way too. So this is from Bryson. Thanks for all you do, Tim. Stay warm. Thank you very, very much, Bryson. It's getting better down here, in South Padre basically, but it is still very bad in northern Texas. And the big deal is, for me, I'm an Iowan. Don't forget. I can handle well below freezing temperatures. It's a normal part of my life every year. But down here, the buildings and the infrastructure are not set up for it. So I know a lot of people around the world, I live in Norway, and it's it's minus 30 degrees Celsius for 3 months of the year or whatever. It's yeah, I get it. Trust me, I live in a northern climate too. But Texas is not set up for that. Texas doesn't have any of the things to be prepared for that. So it's just completely shut the entire state down. It's 39 degrees here right now. And 39 degrees when you're in a home with heat. A lot of homes down here don't have heat, including the one I'm in right now. It does not have heat. We don't have a furnace. There's a small space heater, and that's it. And we're lucky to have that, because a lot of houses still don't have power. Mary Liz and Ryan's house from Cosmic Perspective happens to have power right now, which is exactly why we're doing this here. And it's not always an option though. So the houses don't have the same insulation. It's just kind of a mess. And so staying warm is an actual real issue. So so thank you very much, Bryson. I really do appreciate that. I'm feeling hopeful that by the weekend, hopefully things will start getting warmer and better and more power getting on and all that stuff. So, so thanks to all of you for the support too. Jamin, thank you very much. Like I said though, my goal now with the studio space is I definitely want to have full blown power walls or like battery backups on the entire studio. I want it to be able to, stay off the grid for like 2 or 3 days and then have solar and a small wind turbine or something so that I can cover Starship no matter what, absolutely no matter what, no excuses. I think that'd be awesome. So that will be where all of this month's, Patreon support and all of the support here too will go right into making sure that I can provide you guys coverage no matter what. Thank you very much. You're welcome, Dale. I can't wait for you guys to see this belly flop landing maneuver video. It will be very good. It's supposed to be a short one, like I always promise. And I know that a lot of people are waiting for the Soviet rocket engine video. That's going to be the full family tree of the rocket engines that came from the Soviet Union and now Russia and Ukraine. That one is just such a big undertaking that I'm not going to even touch that one until I get back home to Iowa, and then get back to that studio. Unless, maybe if Studio B gets fixed up and if I'm done, Starship, I need to be done like chasing Starship to be able to shoot that one. That one's going to be a very long video. It'll be a full blown documentary. So that one needs its own amount of focus and attention and drive. So that one's just kind of sitting here. It's done script. The research is done. All the hard parts are done, but shooting and editing that is going to be a big undertaking. I need Andrew to be able to be not in the middle of NHL season 2 for that one, because I want to be able to. It'll take both. So in Discord, short video now equals sub 60. I feel like short videos for me these days really are. If I can do a 20-minute video, spoiler, that won't happen. That would be a short video. Medium video I feel like is now about 40 minutes, which is what this one is, and then my longer videos are now 60 minutes. But I'm really excited though. There's a lot of fun videos coming out. I just have to have something called free time or just period time to be able to do that on top of trying to build out the studio and not freeze to death. So I'm really excited. Brandon, stoked for you that this is your job. Just want to say thanks for all your content and thanks for covering these events. You mean a lot to a lot of people. Can't wait for you to cover humans landing on Mars. Well, thank you very much, Brandon. That is my ultimate goal, is to be to still be doing this. I don't know if I can hang in there for 10, 15 more years doing exactly at this capacity, because it has been a sprinting marathon for the last 3 or 4 years. But I do want to still be very prevalent and still very active when humans do land, especially on the moon and again on Mars. Not again, sorry. More like again on the moon. But that's more, near term to me. I think that's could be in the next 5 or 6 years. And then maybe, hopefully I'm going to be around and able to cover the first humans landing on Mars with you guys. That would be awesome. That will be awesome. Mark, will the copter be able to clean its solar panels from dust buildup? I'm guessing that by flying, just the airflow produced by the dual rotors, all that extra, motion of air, even though it is 1% air, it should hopefully probably clear its solar panels. Solar panels really aren't, people get so worried about, about them getting covered, but don't forget, we had, what is the little tiny rover right now? I'm totally blanking on this. We did have, what is it called? Not Phoenix. Jeez. Insight. Thank you. No, wait. No, what was the one that roved around forever? Was it Insight? No. Insight was the lander. Opportunity. There we go. Yes, thank you. Opportunity roved around forever using solar panels. It lasted so much longer than anyone expected. So I really don't think that the dust buildup is too big of a concern. So, or not as big of a concern as we might think. And by the way, we'll be lucky if the helicopter is really honestly just a total bonus. Like if it works at all, it's going to be huge. So, so if we get 2 or 3 or 4 flights out of it, that'll be amazing. So it's just kind of like a bonus thing that they're trying. So don't get your hopes up if it doesn't work. 14 years is how long Opportunity lasted. It's supposed to last like 3 months. I love that. Yeah. From Klaus. Hi, Tim and awesome crew. I'm so happy watching your shows every day. Being so down to earth seems like a contradiction to the subject you transmit, but I do love you girls and guys for it. Greetings from Denmark, the land of future power supply. That's awesome, Denmark. Yeah, thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun being able to cover this stuff, and for me to learn. That's the whole point of what I do, is just to learn as much as I can, and then help try to transmit that for you guys as well, because I know how intimidating a lot of this stuff can be. I don't have a formal background in anything aerospace related, definitely not in anything astrophysics or anything like that at all. So I am all self-taught, just like a lot of you are. And it's important for me to remember that this stuff is hard and it's complicated. And there's a lot of little details and a lot of fun engineering challenges and decisions that they get to make all the time. So yeah. Let's see here. From Daniel. Wonder within 10 years, will NASA be using Starlink Mars editions for data transmissions? Yeah, I did talk about that for a little bit. I really do think at some point it'll make a lot of sense to just send a small handful. You could literally have, 4 or 5, 6 Starlink satellites at a higher altitude around Mars to be able to provide. The biggest issue with Mars right now is the orbiters. There's only a small handful of orbiters that are capable of relaying data. So it has to be overhead and in sight, in line of sight for the landers or the vehicles to be able to upload data to, say, Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. So there's only a certain amount of uplink time. So now if they were to put a new constellation around Mars with Starlink satellites, that would be huge. You wouldn't need as many of them because you're never going to, you don't care about latency. You could have them way out there on Mars so that they're always in line of sight. But the latency doesn't necessarily matter nearly as much because it's going to be 11 to 20 some minutes for that to get back to Earth. So a couple extra milliseconds of delay of latency getting up to the satellite is absolutely irrelevant. So yeah, just a small handful would be awesome. David Graper, thanks for all your amazing information you provide during your videos. Well, thank you. Again, I almost wish I might be able to pull up a little bit of a teaser here. I can show you guys. Here, I'll do this. This is, give me 1 second. I'll pull this up. I will show you guys a little tiny miniature teaser here of what I'm working on as we speak for this upcoming video. So like I said, this video will be about why they belly flop Starship and why it's doing that landing burn. So I'm working on animations showing the differences between acceleration at different thrust to weight ratios. There is one that shows a lot of stuff. Yeah, this is another one with like thrust to weight ratio. So I've had a really hard time matching acceleration graphs and stuff like that. But it's getting there. I'm really getting closer and closer. And I really do think that these images and all the different information on screen will help you understand this stuff in a really intuitive way. That's what I think is so important. I'm a very visual learner myself, so I know how important it is to learn using, graphics that teach you these concepts. So I've been working on this video for way too long now. Like I said, I do deeply apologize that it takes me so long to do these things, but I think it will be worth it. I think this video will help you understand these specific things very well, and you'll know why Starship is trying to do that belly flop to tail down landing maneuver and why they're doing it so late. We'll give you all the data behind it, and I think you will really like it. So I don't have an ETA on it. I would have thought I would have been done by now a long time ago. Like I said, I thought I was going to be done last week, but hopefully we will be done next week. But I don't know. Now I'm already getting back into, we got to get the studio finished, built out so that I can do my first for SN10 live stream from there. So that could be coming up here, I'm guessing next week. It could be any day, but I'm guessing about next week. So yeah. All right. Thank you from Czechia. From Czechia. Big fan of your work. Thank you. I'm excited for you guys to see it again. Nicola says, Nicola says, I'm looking forward to SpaceX offering sightseeing day excursions to see Perseverance lander. Keep entertaining and educating us, Tim. Thank you. Yes, well, first off, thank you. But I am excited for something like that too, because I don't know if you guys have read or listened to Andy Weir's Artemis book, but it's really good. And he talks in there, he has this like situation where humans are permanently living on the moon, and they can take tours to go see the Apollo 11 landing site. And it makes me really excited to think that will be a reality someday. Yeah. Let's see. All right, from Bergsy, 2.5 million viewers. Wow, that is awesome. And thank you for getting a Future Martian tea to celebrate. I really appreciate that. That's insane that NASA had 2.5 million people watching live. That is huge. That's very, very good news that people are actually paying attention, getting excited, and that the general public is hopefully learning and being inspired and thinking that this stuff is something to look forward to. That's what I'm a big fan of. Kevin Huff, interesting. Thank you. Use this to get YouTube Premium. I actually do have YouTube Premium, but I'm not sure. But thank you. I do have that. I might not be signed in on what you guys are seeing, but yeah. All right. C1, thank you for the membership. From Simon Yap, spend on your new studio. From Simon Yap in the UK. Hope you get your Model 3 back soon and the weather gets warmer. Like I said, it's been a rough. Texas has not been very nice to me this year. My car is still in the shop. My Tesla got hit in early January down right next to basically SN9, like literally basically right in front of SN9. Got smoked by someone coming off of Boca Chica Beach. That was not fun. Andrew and I are okay. We didn't have any problems, but but between that and then now half of Texas getting shut down with bad weather and all this stuff, and I had a pipe burst in the studio and had to deal with that on Sunday with the freezing, or Monday with the freezing temperatures and no power. It's been interesting. It's been a week, but it's been a month, I guess. Hopefully this is a good sign, some good karma that things are going to get better here. So yeah. All right. So from C1, how will the core sample get back to Earth? So again, don't forget, guys, I do have a video called Perseverance versus Curiosity. What's new, what's upgraded, what's different. Definitely give that a watch when you're done here. I promise it'll probably answer a lot of your questions. But one of the big things is there is a planned ESA mission where they will go and land at the Jezero Crater, and they'll take a couple of the cached samples, and they'll have to robotically put them inside this little tiny rocket and then launch that rocket back to Earth. And the earliest that could happen is 2030. So it'll be a little while. All right. JJ, thank you for the membership. Douglas Bolt, thank you for the membership. Space Art by Christopher Dahl. Great coverage, Everyday Astronaut. Thank you for all your great feeds and content. Love what you're doing. Well, thank you very much. C1, my son Ryan wants to know how the core samples get back to Earth. Yeah, so sorry there, C1, I just answered. Hopefully you are able to get that. But yes, they will be sending another mission, and actually it will be a partnership with ESA. So Europe will be going there, and hopefully right here we're seeing it, perfect timing. Yeah, so it needs to be developed relatively soon. And then it will rendezvous. Basically, they'll launch that into Mars orbit. It'll rendezvous with another satellite in Mars orbit and then get shot off back to Earth. So pretty nuts. Pretty nuts. For those of you just now, we are waiting for... So it has landed. They successfully touched down. Perseverance is safely on the surface of Mars, which is huge. Go ahead and celebrate amongst yourselves, everyone. It's extremely exciting. They're kind of rejigging and getting ready to, actually begin the mission already. So we're kind of waiting to hear a little bit more back. Hopefully see some more images and stuff like that. So, all right. Sergio Sandoval says, by the way, I think JPL was able to receive near real-time data using the Marco CubeSats and MRO. They mentioned they only had a couple seconds of delay in the data stream. So the Marco CubeSats just did a flyby. Those were with InSight Rover. The CubeSats, I'm pretty sure Marco A and B are gone. That was only a flyby. The only thing they had was the MRO, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. But as long as it's in line of sight, yeah, they pretty much don't have any data packet loss. But of course, real time is relative when you're dealing with the speed of light. So yes, it was a direct connection, continually streaming the whole time. But of course, it was delayed by about 11.5 seconds. So yeah. All right, so Forbidden. Where's the Sky Crane now? Great videos, always enjoy it. Sky Crane is now in its own crater. It made its own. That is Sky Crane right there. This is perfect. They just keep showing B-roll, and I happen to be talking about it. Sky Crane flies away and intentionally just yeets itself out of there to not damage the spacecraft or the rover at all. So it actually just turns on its engines and just gets out of Dodge as quickly as possible, right? And so where exactly? It's within a kilometer or so, or 2 kilometers. I don't know exactly how far it actually flies away. And then it crashes. It just gets out of there. Yeah. John Little, thanks for everything, Tim. Stay warm, stay safe, and hope Miko comes back even better than before, sooner than later. Hope the rest of the crew and other stream teams are safe as well. Yeah, I think as far as the other team streams, so I think NASA Spaceflight, I believe, Jack Byers is the only one that really comes out here, besides Mary, who lives here full-time, of course. She lives in Boca Chica Village full-time. I think I haven't heard anything. I think she's doing fine. I think the village actually has power, most likely, thanks to SpaceX and their solar farm and generator and generators. But yeah, I think like Jack with NASA Spaceflight is probably fine. I don't think there's really anyone else out here. My team right now is stripped down to Allie and then Cosmic Perspective, and then my parents are in town right now. So yeah, it's there's not a very huge crew right here with me right now. So yeah. I wish I could celebrate with the Krispy Kreme Mars donut, but unfortunately, I don't know. The nearest Krispy Kreme is probably doesn't have power and like 5 hours away. Matthias, so the sky crane basically crashed somewhere else on Mars. Exactly right. Yep, it crashed. I mean, relatively nearby. Like I don't think it can fly more than like 10 kilometers away, but it crashed relatively nearby. All right. Axel says, thanks, Tim. I really appreciate the hard work you do for us space fans. Well, thank you very much, Axel. Robert, thank you so much for your membership. I appreciate that. From Peter, thanks, Tim. Your enthusiasm and expertise has made a locked down family in the UK very happy. Well, thank you very much. I just like, I'm glad that there's people out there that are as excited about this as I am. PK, keep up the great work. Thank you so much. Michael wants to know, how does Ingenuity control its horizontal movements with just 2 counter-rotating blades? That's a fantastic question, especially because they don't have any active pitch control or anything on them. If I remember right, it's actually all just about center of mass. So I think they just wiggle the and adjust basically the center of mass, dragging off the bottom of the 2 rotors, I think, to basically just steer it around. It's a very simple mechanism and a simple control scheme. The biggest deal is that those counter-rotating rotors just cancel out the roll. So if you had just a single rotor, your rotor, you would just be spinning. That's why you normally have a tail rotor on a helicopter. By having counter-rotating blades, they cancel each other's rotation out, so it doesn't induce torque, doesn't start to spin the vehicle. So those 2 forces are going to be equal. And then literally, I think you can. I think if I remember it, I think it's just literally like leaning the body of the helicopter one way or the other, and that's its control scheme. Like I said, quite simple. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it's like basically conservation of angular momentum. Thank you so much for the membership. Did it land yet? Says Michael. Yes, it did. About an hour ago, we received data back that it safely touched down. Everything is fantastic. We're waiting to see if they're going to give us any more updates. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to tune out here and keep working on things here. But yeah, at this point, we might just be seeing updates on Twitter. I kind of thought they'd keep streaming here for a little while longer, and I hope that we start to see more video and data come back. So I will be sticking around for a little bit longer, but I'll get through the rest of your guys's, try to catch up on some of your super chats. Again, sorry that I will be missing some of them. Unfortunately, on these large live streams, I just can't keep up with you guys. From Carolina, Jess is a huge fan and got me into space stuff. Please tell her off for not putting items back in their place at Costco. Well, Jess, you need to put stuff back in your place at Costco. Thank you, Carolina and Jess, for saying hi. Rob Hawk, thank you so much. Michael Kropsky, you are doing a wonderful job for all of us passionate about space engineering. I'm waiting for next movies. Greetings from Poland. You'll have to wait a little bit longer, but I hope that I can get some new videos out very soon. I promise it should be. I think you guys will like this one a lot. Tim Coolian says, hi, Tim. I'm also Tim from Iowa. I teach material sciences and engineering at Iowa State University. Hit me up with your materials questions. Awesome coverage, awesome channel. Well, that's awesome, Tim. Yeah, my dad went to Iowa State for 2 years and then went to UNI for 2 years. My sister went to Iowa State also for about 6 months. So that's awesome. Very cool. DME and EMD. Thanks, Tim. Your channel is absolutely the best. Well, thank you so much. I'm sorry that it hasn't been very active in the last since SN9 basically, but we're working on as much stuff as physically possible. To Plaque, if it had crashed on Mars, what would NASA have done with all the personnel allocated to this mission? That's a great question, actually. I don't know. There would likely, I don't know, actually. I don't know what that would look like. I don't know if people get laid off or move to other, because you can only move so many people to so many things. I don't know if they would. Yeah. I don't know. If anyone has any experience with that, I would love to know. Yeah, okay, so I'll keep going here. Alex G, thanks for the coverage, Tim. Thank you very much, Alex G. Tanner, how far is Perseverance from Opportunity? Could they eventually drive over to and clear off solar panels if they get operational again? Perseverance doesn't really have any way to clear off any other rovers. I don't think it has it doesn't have a brusher tool or anything on it. It just scratch the crap. It could take its main mast or its main arm, scratch the crap out of the solar panels if it wants to, but it doesn't have any way to gently brush it off. And that really would just, even if it's relatively close, don't forget Curiosity traveling relatively quickly has only done about 30 or 40 kilometers on the surface of Mars after over 10 years. So they are not that close to each other. It would not physically, even if it drove straight there with no problems at all, it would never, I don't even know how close it is, but it just would never be able to do that. So yeah. Keith, you've spoken on the work, the stress, and mental health at times. Please remember there are thousands of us who you not only educate and entertain, but to whom you mean the world and beyond. Well, thank you very much, Keith. Yeah, I appreciate that. Like I said, this last month has been about as stressful as it gets. I think it's been some pretty extreme circumstances down here with the car accident and an uninsured motorist and all that stuff. And then between that and then obviously now trying to get a studio space down here, having a pipe burst and then no power and below freezing temperatures. It's just not been the easiest month, but that's okay. Everything will get better, everything. And of course, I actually had a feeling the other day. I was driving around and seeing so many restaurants closed, and I had part of my brain had to compartmentalize. Am I feeling sad that this restaurant is closed because of COVID, because it doesn't have electricity, because it's below freeze? What reason do I have that I'm having to be sad for right now? It's just really weird. It's this really weird, mental gymnastics at this point, almost just to try to remember oh yeah, there's 3 different crises almost that we're working through at the same time right now. So things are getting better though. I think, I'm quite hopeful that power and everything will be restored to normal relatively soon. And I'm quite feeling hopeful about the vaccines and the vaccinations and the pandemic coming. I'm feeling hopeful that we're getting closer to more of an end in sight, or at least some good news where life can have some semblance of normalcy in the relatively near future. So things will get better. And yeah. All right, let's keep going here from Brian. Wow, thank you so much, Brian. Brilliant streams. Thanks for doing that. Well, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me rant about things. This is definitely outside of my normal wheelhouse, as you may know, Brian. Although, the video that I made about Curiosity versus Perseverance definitely taught me quite a bit about the two vehicles. But yeah, I've kind of at this point really become an expert more in space flight. And when it comes to planetary science and astrophysics and stuff like that, I definitely don't know nearly as much. So, yeah, so thank you very much, Brian. That really means a lot. Your support, that is very generous. So thank you. DJ Spy, thank God we didn't do a pointy end or logo letters up check on your microphone. Yes, you're right. I do mount a Shure microphone on a low mounted stand, so you don't have a stand coming in from the top. So sorry for those of you that are OCD and reading a Shure logo upside down. It's actually the way that I've always done the SM7B. I know it's backwards, but yeah. It actually is pointy end up. So, pointy-ist end up. Ryukachu, Missed my earlier super chat, but do a video on the Viper moon mission. I'm with NASA making it. Also, Krispy Kreme Mars donut today. Well, thank you for re-responding again, Ryokuchu. Yeah, Viper moon mission. I will definitely do a video. Well, I need to do a video about a lot of the like CLIPS missions and stuff. But Viper, I'm excited to learn more about. That'd be awesome to talk about some of the upcoming moon missions because there are quite a few in the Artemis program. Brent, thank you so much. Cheers. Michael Busby. If life is confirmed on Mars, even microbial, where does your brain go on that? My brain just gets excited that we have new data and new science to comb over and hopefully help understand our place amongst the stars, understand life and how life forms and how life continues. I think personally, I believe that the odds of us being alone in the universe, or at least the only life form in the universe, are like virtually impossible. I'll never say zero, but like 0.0000 times 50,000 1. Like I think the odds are so much more in the favor that we are not the only living organisms in the entire universe. And granted, our sample size so far is basically the Earth and the Moon, and little things here and there from some comets and some asteroids. But and having observed. Having rovers observe some samples on Mars and stuff like that. But, if we actually were to directly observe some form of life on Mars, it would be huge. It would even just to know what does life look like? What does life, our conception of what life is right now is limited to our data set. So seeing life live in other extreme circumstances, is it anything related to the life here on Earth? Is it having the same mechanical functions as life on Earth? Like what does that look like? What does that, it's just crazy to think about. So where does my brain go with that? It's just pure excitement. And I can't wait to help put the puzzle pieces together. Cause that's kind of that's all science is. It's just a giant puzzle. And you're kind of taking little pieces and starting to put things together, with this big giant question. And, one of my favorite things about about scientific literacy and using the scientific method is that you don't know. You come up with ideas, and then you're basically trying to disprove yourself or try to come up with evidence to substantiate your claims. You're basically, all great claims require great evidence, and you're constantly trying to disprove yourself or have others, your peer review, do the same types of research and try to prove you wrong. It's a certain humility of like, here's my theory. I think there might be life outside of Earth. Okay, cool. That's a nice hypothesis. Let's go and actually try and observe directly life forms somewhere else. So far, we've been trying, and so far, we have not proven that hypothesis correct. We definitely thought, a lot of people thought that there could be life on Mars. So far, that has not proven to be the case. We have seen some of the organic trace molecules, specifically using Curiosity, actually found a lot of signs that there could have been life on Mars at one point. But, for now, we have no direct observation. So, hopefully that helps answer that question. But it'd be really exciting. From Janeth says, what will happen if you just carry some water and dump it on Mars, even say a few milliliters? So, great question. I'm pretty sure Mars is too thin of atmosphere. You'd likely have just a phase change almost immediately because it's such thin atmosphere, but also it's most of Mars is below freezing, so it'd likely just turn and would have turned into ice of some kind and boil off. Yeah, it would actually boil off. Yeah, because of the temperature, because of the thin atmosphere. Martin says, we love your work, man. Sending regards. And Czechia is short for for the Czech Republic. Well, I did not know that. Well, thank you for teaching me some geography there, Martin. Really appreciate that. Thank you, Antonio, for the membership. Thank you, Laura, for the membership. Thank you, Askell, for appreciating my use of the word yeet. Michael, thanks for the membership. And Nicola, don't forget, if you guys are members or Patreon supporters, you'll get exclusive live streams. So I will be streaming once Studio B is kind of up and running. The first thing I'll probably do once it's for sure in an operational state will be stream there for Patreon supporters. So if you guys do want to gain access to some exclusive live streams where you can have a little more one-on-one, get a little bit of behind the scenes, and just to kind of help get questions answered, and just kind of have a more casual conversation. Consider becoming a member or a Patreon supporter. Patreon, actually, if your goal is to support what I do, consider becoming a Patreon supporter, because Patreon doesn't. YouTube memberships and super chats take 30% of revenue. So Patreon definitely has more integrations as well. So patreon.com/everydayastronaut. I hope to see you guys in some upcoming exclusive live streams. James Royal, there is a Krispy Kreme in Brownsville. I did not know that. I don't know if they have power, but that is crazy. Musical Wolves, thank you so much. Nearest Krispy Kreme was 3 hours away. I spent 7 hours due to traffic to get the Krispy Kreme Mars donut. It was very messy. Got back. That is amazing. That is some serious dedication, Musical Wolves. I can't believe you did that. Wow. From Yellowstone all the way to, I don't even know what your closest city is to Yellowstone, but that's some dedication. That's crazy. JJ, this was better than watching the moon landing in 1969. Really appreciate the great work you do on your videos. Well, thank you very much, JJ. I would have a hard time believing that this is better coverage than the moon landing, because that is still the most historic event in the world. So again, I'm going to see if there's something else that NASA's showing that we can put in the background, because right now this is, and sorry that you're looking at just a horrid webcam here. Give me 1 second here. I'm just going to look and see if we have something else. Discord, is there something else that we could be watching that's not just... I feel like they're kind of done. So at this point, we'll probably just wait and see if we get any cool updates from NASA. But meanwhile, I'm going to work on trying to get out of here too. But I do want to show you guys this real quick. Wow, that is awesome. That it's tweeted officially. The first images safe on Mars. That is so cool. Here, look at this, guys. Make sure you're following NASA's Perseverance Mars rover for some updates. That is so cool. Yeah, I love seeing that. That's a good sign. So I'm sorry guys, I can't keep up with you still. Thank you very much, Goose Fam. I really appreciate that. And again, to all the members like Steven Butler. Let's see. I'm trying to get through a couple more of you guys, but I'm going to work on getting out of here before it gets dark here, which is starting to do in the next hour, because again, power is quite limited. So we have to kind of do some things during daylight hours just to be able to, do normal things. So let's see. This is from Mike and Marilyn Warren. Could NASA use the prop wash from Ingenuity to clear solar panels of dust on Perseverance? Perseverance doesn't have any solar panels. Perseverance only has a nuclear thermal generator, so it doesn't have any consideration at all for solar. The only solar panels in this entire mission are actually on the Ingenuity helicopter. So again, likely when it spins up its rotors, it will probably free and clear up a lot of the dust that could be collected on the solar panels. So this is from ALS Auto and Appliance. Thank you so much for all you do on your channel and top quality coverage. Also, no need to mention, I wanted to donate in honor of my father, Cecil, who passed away on Saturday. Wow. Oh man. So sorry to hear about your father's passing, but cheers to Cecil. I mean, that's, thanks for spending time with us, and hopefully, hopefully this was a bright moment for you today and your family to maybe be able to kind of tune out for a little bit. But yeah, I'm really sorry to hear your father's passing, but thank you so much for saying hi. And stay tuned, because there are a lot more things to be excited about and to look forward to in the future. Things that I know will probably make your father proud. So yeah, thank you so much for saying hi. Marcus, thank you for the membership. And Nancy, I think I want to end this here from this from Indeterminate. I don't think we have an actual date. A date on when the Ingenuity will take its first flight yet. In Discord, there is some talk that the solar panel is on top of the rotors, but again, there will be airflow moving a lot in that area, obviously. As the rotors are spinning, there will be airflow moving straight through. It's not like the airflow starts at the rotors. The airflow will actually be, you'll create these vortexes. And just because there will be some airflow around, I'm guessing that would help clear off the solar panels a little bit. But we will see. We will see. Yeah, so it only has like a 2-minute flight time, and it's planned to only fly a couple times anyway. So who knows? But then again, it is JPL, and they'll say something that's only going to last 3 months and it lasts 10 years. So who knows how many times and what Ingenuity helicopter will look like on the surface of Mars. But it will be really, really, really fun to see. So hopefully the images from the helicopter coming back, I hope that it can fly over Perseverance and get some awesome aerial images. It's something to be really excited about. I can't wait. So again, if you guys need to learn more about this stuff, don't forget, I do have this video, Curiosity versus Perseverance, up on YouTube here. As soon as I close this out, go ahead and check that out. I promise you'll learn quite a bit about Perseverance, why it's awesome, what's been upgraded compared to Curiosity. And again, if you want to help support what I do, consider going to everydayastronaut.com/shop. Use the coupon code Touchdown to be able to get the Future Martian Society t-shirt or anything from the Future Martian Society thing here. Looks like we might be sold out of our drinkware. But if you want to get anything cool and help support what I do, everydayastronaut.com/shop. Again, use coupon code Touchdown, all one word, all lowercase, to be able to get the Future Martian Society t-shirt. In celebration of there being another awesome Mars rover on the surface of Mars as we speak. Congratulations to Perseverance and the teams at NASA, JPL, and Lockheed Martin. And again, if you guys want to join Patreon and see some exclusive live streams, get into our awesome Discord community, consider becoming a Patreon supporter by going to patreon.com/everydayastronaut. And there you'll hear a little bit more from me when I have power, and you'll get some more sneak peeks of this video. So it's going to be awesome. Oh, and Flo also mentions that we do have our post-launch review of this mission up live here. So if you guys want to learn more about what exactly happened today, go to everydayastronaut.com and you'll see that there is the Mars 2020 right here, Mars 2020. I wonder if the post-launch review should now be the Perseverance. But yeah, here's some rundowns on what we've got so far, and they'll keep this up to date with certain things. Here's all the instruments that it took to Mars. An awesome article. So if you guys want to learn more here too as well, check out our post-launch review, because this was, of course, at one point launched on a rocket, which is kind of what I tend to focus on. So this is a post-launch review of the Mars 2020 mission, which of course is Perseverance and Ingenuity. And it is awesome. So everyone say thank you to Flows for working on that. All right, guys. So I'm going to work on heading out of here, guys. Thank you so much. One more question from Musical Wolves. When loading, let's see here. When loading locks onto Starship, how is SpaceX able to prevent air bubbles from forming, or are air bubbles in LOX tanks not that big of a deal? So locks, because if you take, let me think. Okay, so basically, first you purge the vehicle with nitrogen, so it's all an inert gas. Then you start loading it up with liquid oxygen and liquid methane, and it's because it's so cold, it comes in as a liquid. You're literally pouring it just like you would gasoline, right? And then or petrol or diesel or however you want to say it. And then as you fill it, you basically maintain tank pressure by allowing certain some of the backfilled nitrogen to vent out, or the ambient pressure to vent out. Liquid oxygen, as it warms up, will automatically turn into a gas. It will turn into its gaseous state, and it will expand. So you're basically constantly venting out gas bubbles. And then, of course, because of buoyancy, the more dense liquid will stay on the bottom, and the gaseous portions of either nitrogen or helium or the gaseous methane or gaseous liquid oxygen will stay on top. And then just to maintain pressure, they just vent it out. So there really aren't like these bubbles or anything that you might think of in like a bathtub with a solution or something, and things you have to worry about in that end. So, So stay tuned, guys. Like I said, I will have some awesome videos coming up, and hopefully some more live streams, and hopefully be streaming from Studio B here, from our Studio B here sometime next week. Fingers crossed. We're working on a lot of really exciting stuff. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching with me. It really means a lot to me that you guys are watch this with me. That just is a huge honor for me. So Again, huge congratulations to the teams at NASA and JPL and Lockheed Martin and ULA for getting the Perseverance rover absolutely bang on there too with their Atlas V. So awesome work. Love seeing this. I cannot wait to see more from the Perseverance rover. And cheers to Mars 2020. All right, guys. Thank you so much again for hanging out with me. Hopefully we'll see you really soon. But that's going to do it for me. I'm Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, bringing space down to Earth for everyday people. Goodbye, everybody.